Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. It's a sad day in LA, family. Excuse me, I ain't even set up all the way up over here. Had to hurry up and jump on and pay my condolences to Kobe Bryant, man. What's up with it, Mississippi, Magnolia, up in the hizzle for shizzle, Triple Darkness, Female Physax. What's poppin' with your party people? Hold on for a second. Let y'all load up in here, man. We're gonna get some live updates. Everybody calling me about Kobe. Yeah, man. It's a sad day in LA. Shout out to all the people that's tuning in. What's up with it, Female Facts? Yeah, RIP Kobe, man. It's a sad day. Very sad day. I don't know all the details just yet. So we're going to pull up all this information on the screen. Right here. Can you guys hold on. Before I do that, let me get this chat on the screen. Just so I can see what's going on. Hey, I can't believe it too, Patricia. This is crazy. But just watch all the many conspiracy theories that we're going to hear from here on out, instead of people just focusing, you know, on his death and giving condolences and, you know, good blessings and positive energy and reminiscing all the, you know, good things we had about Kobe. And most importantly, like, knowing that life is precious, man. It can all end in the blink of an eye. But I'm kind of interested to see all these Kobe Bryant conspiracy stories that are going to develop, you know, over the next few days. Damn, this is kind of hard for me, man. I mean, nah, I wasn't no like super duper Kobe fan, like fanatic, but I was a Kobe fan. I definitely was a Kobe fan. Oh, damn, I lost. Hold on. Let me get this chat on the thing like I said. So you guys, positive energy and good condolences can be up there on the screen as well. For all the people that tune into this. Hold on for a hot second. Let me see. Window capture. Hey, what's up with it? What's up with all the people loading up in the chat? Hold on, let me give me a second to get this on the screen, and then damn, man, my monitor is just fucking up. We got up in here. We got my man Stylistic. Nut War Television. Monstrosity. What's popping with you, Playboy? We got MBM. What's up with you, man? Triple darkness up in here for sizzle. Sister Trish, what's popping with you? You say go outside. It's unreal. She said, talk to you later, Tree. It's a lot of people outside straight tripping. It's a sad day in Cali. Wow, man. I just came back from the dispensary about 30 minutes ago, but I got this information off YouTube. Was strolling, and I think Tommy was doing something on it, and I said, well, this can't be, man. Kobe Bryant dead in a helicopter crash? Like, hell nah. So, I just pulled it up, and then I jumped online. So we definitely about to check it out. Triple Darkness said Google about to be shut down. What's up with it? Caribbean Freddy was popping with you, Playboy. You say, man, you niggas crazy. Why you say that, Caribbean Freddy? We about to get to all that information. Yeah, I got info about 40 minutes ago. I thought it was bogus until TMZ reported on it. Yeah, I got something from TMZ too. What's popping with you, V-Dub? Salute, Playboy. So yeah, let's pull some of this information up on the screen, man. Top stories. Kobe Bryant. It's from the New York Post, the first one. Kobe Bryant reportedly killed in California helicopter crash. Okay, so Kobe was born on August 23rd, 1978 as an American former basketball player. He played his entire 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers of the National Basketball Association. He entered the NBA directly from high school and won 5 NBA championships. So you asked how old he was. He's born in 78. So he's just 3 years younger than me, 41. Kobe Bryant was 41 when he passed away. Now let's see. See if we can get some live video up here of some news reports and stuff. Yeah, you're right, Blade. What's popping with you, Playboy? Shit like this do last for like 2 weeks. Because they're going to be making this some type of Kobe Bryant conspiracy. The government killed him. And, I don't know the details of the plane crash. If you guys got details on like what happened, you can type it in the chat room. Okay, Kobe Bryant dead in California helicopter crash. Legendary NBA player Kobe Bryant has died in a California helicopter crash, report says Sunday. He was 41. Bryant was among at least 4 people traveling in his private helicopter over Calabasas when a fire broke out, sending the copter spiraling from the sky, according to TMZ Sports. The crash occurred around 10 a.m. local time amid foggy conditions in the hills overlooking Calabasas, with the copter sparking a brush fire on impact that hampered initial rescue efforts, according to the Los Angeles Times. There were no survivors, and the cause of the crash is under investigation, according to TMZ. Authorities investigating the crash confirmed to KTLA Channel 5 that at least 5 people were killed in the crash, but did not identify the victims by name. Bryant's wife, Vanessa, was not among those aboard the copter, according to reports. He is also survived by the couple's 4 daughters, with the youngest born just last June. Man, I thought Kobe only had 2 daughters. I didn't know he had 4. Wow, this is sad, man. Bryant starred for 2 decades with the Los Angeles Lakers, winning 5 championships and making 18 All-Star games before hanging up his basketball shoes following the 2016 season. The stunning death of the Swede shooting guard came just hours after he toasted fellow NBA icon and current Laker LeBron James for passing him for the third place on the league's all-time scoring list. Continue to move the game forward, King James wrote Bryant on Sunday night in what would prove to be his final tweet. Much respect, my brother. Kobe concluded the message with an emoji of a bicep flexing and the hashtag 33644. 1 point more than he scored in his illustrious career. Bryant was considered a lock to be among the next class inducted into the Naismith Smith, or however you pronounce that word, Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, set to be announced next month. Hey, what's up with the A.D. Harris? What's poppin' with you, Playboy? Got misunderstood up in Hizzle for Shizzle, female physics. So yeah, that report right there was from the New York Post. We don't have any causes of the crash. What's initially made the helicopter spiral out of control? I mean, they did say it was a fire that broke out. So we're going to see if we can go to some video. This is from KTLA 5. This video right here. We about to pull up. The headline reads, Kobe Bryant among 5 dead in Calabasas helicopter crash. And this is from KTLA 5. This is a local station out here in California. Let me just hit that play button. Let's see what's popping.
The accomplishments that he made. He was such an impressive man, fluent in English. He was fluent in Italian. He lived in Italy. I believe that's where he played a lot of his basketball. That's why he got so good. And it's that Mamba mentality. He was such a hard worker. And he was a hard worker on the basketball court. He was a hard worker off the basketball court as he furthered his life into retirement, whether it was investing, whether it was writing movie scripts, as we mentioned. He is an Oscar winner, a long list of accolades that we could certainly talk about.
We want to go to Christine Michelli. We're going to stay trying to be connected with her because she has something to add to this. She is our 10 p.m. executive producer. We're going to talk to her in a second, but Mark, I want to read something to you. We're just talking about LeBron James and the connection that all these other players, these amazing players, have to Kobe Bryant. And this is something that he had said. This is a quote from him. It's another guy that I looked up to when I was in grade school and high school. Seeing him straight out of high school, he is someone that I used as inspiration. It was like, wow, seeing a kid 17 years old come into the NBA and trying to make an impact on a franchise. I used it as motivation. He helped me before he even knew me because of what he was able to do. So just to be able to, at this point in my career, to share the same jersey that he wore, be with his historical franchise, and just represent the purple and gold, it's very humbling and, quote, it's dope. So I think that, we're going to hear a lot of quotes from a lot of people, and it's the people who knew him in the best way that really know exactly what this loss is all about. Let's go live now to Christine Michelli. She's on the phone with us. Christine, are you in that area? Did you see anything? Did you hear anything?
Yeah, I'm right here standing across the street. I can see the white smoke coming from the crash scene, and it looks like there might be flames still. I can't tell. It's up on the hill. And I normally hike in that area, so I'm really familiar with it. And this morning, just before 10 o'clock, we heard this really loud chopper come over. But we hear them all the time because Lost Hills was right by our house. And we thought, wow, that sounded low. But we didn't think anything of it.
Now that you have the news that it's Kobe Bryant, one of 5 people in that helicopter crash, Christine, you know this city like the back of your hand, and what Kobe means to this city, what he meant to this city. What is your reaction as someone who calls this place home to this news?
Oh, I'm stunned. I'm used to hearing about car crashes on Las Virgenes and the Malibu area, but this is just unbelievable. I don't think I've really processed it at this point.
I mean, as a news producer, Christine, you have done countless stories on the Lakers and countless stories on Kobe Bryant. So it really does feel like we knew him.
Oh, totally. And for it to happen so close to my house, I mean, I'm literally a block from where this happened. And I just can't believe it. I mean, no matter who it is that dies in these things, it's terrible. But to know that an LA icon was on the chopper is just shocking.
Can you tell us, since you're there, Christine, can you tell us what are people doing? Can you set the scene for us? What's it like right where you are?
There is a huge traffic jam here. People are arriving on foot. The sheriff's department is keeping everybody out, but people are finding ways around here. I'm in the church parking lot, which is right across the street it's the Church of the Canyon, and it's right across the street from the crash scene. You can see the smoke. You can see the rescue guys on foot going in. You can see the whole thing, but everybody is just stunned, and they can't believe it, and they keep asking, is it true, over and over again, and nobody wants to believe it.
All right. Christine Michelli is our 10 p.m. producer here. Christine, thanks for giving us those words and telling us what has been happening from the scene. We ask you to stand by right now because we're also joined live on the phone by our own Eric Spillman. And Eric, I saw you posted to Twitter. There's simply no words to describe a tragedy like this. Eric, are you with us?
Okay, we lost our connection to Eric as well. We're, as you can imagine, just trying to follow this breaking news can be a little bit difficult. So we will have some technical difficulties, but we are desperately trying to get information and get some perspective for all of you at home. And we will continue to do that. Mark, I have covered Lakers before. I was there when they had that amazing parade, and watching them on the double-decker buses. And even when you have been here, I've been here 21 years, even if you have been here for his career, you forget all of the things he did. Like there's just, I'm reading through some of these articles, and it's just award after award and, record after record. It's amazing to me, that he was the youngest player ever drafted into the NBA in history in 1996. There's just so many things. We'll continue to recount all of the things that were part of his historic life and career, and part of one of the things that Eric Spillman has always talked about is covering the Lakers, being downtown, covering sports in Los Angeles. Eric, I think you're here with us, and I know that you must be stunned.
Yeah, it's just stunning. He's such a legend. I mean, it's hard to even use the past tense about him. His death is just so shocking to people, and I remember the 5 parades when he celebrated the Lakers championship titles, the victory parades. He was by far the most popular player on the team. And just what a career. I mean, there's really probably never been a player like Kobe Bryant. There may never be a player like him who just so dominated in his position for so long. I mean, 20 years in the NBA, scoring titles. That last game that he played back in 2016, before he retired, in which he scored 60 points. I mean, there's just so many different achievements that he had. And he was Kobe. He was the guy you referred to by his first name.
Right.
Nobody ever referred to him as Bryant. They referred to him as Kobe because that's just how popular he was. And it's just so sad to have this loss at this stage in his life, too. 41 years old. He had a lot of years ahead of him. He was working on different projects, involved in movie and television production. I believe he won, an Academy Award, I think, or some kind of award for creating a movie. And he had his whole life ahead of him, young daughters. It's just a real tragedy.
Eric, can you talk about, as reporters, when we interview people, we know some people are easier to interview than others. And Kobe kind of had a way, if he was in a great mood, he could just captivate people, and he would have so much fun with reporters. And I think Darren talked about how smart he was. And if you weren't a smart reporter and interviewer, he kind of let you know.
Yeah, I think like many NBA players, I mean, Kobe was so great for so long and from such a young age, that gave him a kind of confidence and maybe at some points a lack of patience with people who asked questions that he thought were stupid or silly. But there were times when he was very charming during interviews. Over the years, I didn't have a lot of one-on-one contact with him, but saw a lot of news conferences when he was clever, he was witty. He was having a good time, but then somebody would ask a question that he didn't like, and he would respond, in a snippy way sometimes. But I think that's true of a lot of athletes. And what people will remember about Kobe is the tremendous impact he had here on everybody, even people who are not sports fans. I mean, as a sports fan, you could really appreciate what he did on the basketball court because it was truly monumental, and he did it at such a young age, and he just dominated the league for so long. I mean, as a sports fan, you just admire that. But even if you weren't a sports fan, he was Kobe. I mean, it was hard to describe the impact that he had. Everybody knows about him. Everybody loved him. And just to have this happen now in such a shocking way, it's just a difficult thing for people to deal with.
Eric, you're famously a Clippers fan, but you could easily say that regardless of whether or not you rooted for him, you have to respect the basketball player.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, and everybody, I grew up here in Los Angeles, so, everybody who's here over time is a Lakers fan too, and I certainly was. And you couldn't not admire just how he dominated the league for so many years. He was a fantastic player, and maybe the greatest player in the NBA. I mean, you could make people argue about that all the time, but it would be hard to think of anybody who did as much at such an early age and then for so long as Kobe Bryant.
And Eric, who can't think about someone being in an office, you crumble up a piece of paper, you see a garbage bin, and what does everyone say? Kobe, right? He was just known. You make the shot, you're as great as Kobe. It was a phrase that I think people use all over this world. Would you agree?
I would, and one of the things that I happen to be not far from, where this helicopter crash happened. And it's a foggy day, even now. I mean, the sun has cut through some of the clouds and the fog and the haze, but it's still, a day where you'd look outside and you'd say to yourself, why would anyone fly in a helicopter today? And I think there's a lot of questions over what happened. I'd like to know more of the details about, why they were flying on such a foggy day in an area where there are steep hillsides.
Yeah, there's so many questions, Eric, certainly. But the fact that so many people knew that really was his mode of transportation. So when you hear this news, as bad as it is and as much as you don't want to believe it, you did know that was how he got back and forth from Orange County, back and forth from Newport Beach.
And Eric,
I think when this first broke on social media, and I was beginning to read about it, a lot of people just had a hard time accepting it. Is it confirmed by authorities? Are they sure? Has the family identified? People just didn't want to believe that it was true. It's so horrifying and so shocking. People looked at it. They looked at it on their phones and they talked about it, but they just couldn't believe that it could have happened. They didn't want to believe that it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how I felt. You don't want to believe it.
Well, you can hear it in your voice. You even mentioned your husband is a huge Lakers fan.
Yeah.
And he's at a loss of words as well.
When our executive producer Mazen called us, I had the phone on speaker, so he heard it and he reacted before I even understood. It didn't connect to me, but David, immediately, you're just shocked. It really does take your breath away. It just really does. I'm looking through Twitter, and stay with us, Eric, if you have anything that you would add to this, but I'm looking through Twitter and I'm seeing so many different tweets from different people. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people, as Eric was mentioning, don't know if it's true, wanting to get confirmation that it's true. And people are just looking back at Kobe's social media. This person here, Randy Pritchard, says his last tweet is about showing respect to the player who just passed his career score tally. Let's all be more like Kobe. And this is what Kobe Bryant tweeted, just 16 hours ago, continuing to move the game forward. King James, much respect, my brother. So that's what he was known for. That, the people who looked up to him and who he had respect for had that kind of feeling. And then you've got people, Whoopi Goldberg, you have people, in the industry, because he just won that Oscar. We told you about that for his short film that he had, and to see him win that Oscar was amazing. Whoopi Goldberg says, "Rest in peace, Kobe, hero to many, including my grandson, extraordinary athlete and always kind to me and my family. My deepest condolences to his family." Kobe Bryant leaving behind his family. We have been told by sources, and it's been reported that his wife, Vanessa, was not on that helicopter. He does have 5 daughters. He was known to take one of his oldest daughters to games, and we don't know if she was on board.
Daughters?
But certainly that's the terrible fear for a lot of people. His
I thought
4
they said he
daughters,
had
Gianna,
4,
Natalia,
another report.
Bianca, and he and Vanessa just had a baby last June. Her name is Capri. I feel like I've watched them grow up. I've watched them get bigger and bigger every time they would take a shot into the crowd and show the audience and show them how they keep getting bigger and bigger. And so it's awful to hear about it.
And Eric, in terms of watching Kobe grow up, this is something that you got to do. Lynette got to do. He was drafted when he was 17. He started playing when he was 18. And you got to see so many stages of his personal and his professional life live on television.
Right. I mean, and I think for me, it'll always be about those victory parades that happened after the Lakers won their 5 NBA titles, seeing the whole city come together. The Lakers, during those periods of time, they brought the city
Trip.
together.
His wife
Everybody
didn't
rallied
die.
around the Lakers, and everybody felt proud about it. And Kobe.
It was just him up in
the
there,
crucial
but it was 4 other
of
people.
those titles every single
They
time.
haven't released the
And it was
identity of those people
a reason
yet.
To celebrate for the city to see the success recently. When you go to the Staples Center and you look up in the rafters and
Hey,
you
what's
see
up, Renee? Shout out to you.
championship banners that are there, that are hanging there during the Laker game. You see them there, and people feel so proud of that record. And that record was something that Kobe achieved along with the other players, but it was always, mostly about Kobe because he was such an important part of the Lakers team. And when he was number 8, and when he changed his number to number
Hey, what's
24,
up, Betty?
I'm sure that those jerseys,
Renee
number 8,
Owens.
number 24, to this day, those Laker jerseys are the top-selling NBA jerseys that you can find. I mean, everybody wears them. And that was just a testament to his tremendous achievements as a player.
Eric, when you think about their championship runs, they had the first three-peat, and then they had a little bit of a break. Shaq left, and then they came back for that second run where they were able to grab 2 championships. Which one do you think? I would say it was the second run that sort of solidified him as the true leader of that team. Can you talk about which one you think was more impactful?
Well, I mean, I think for Kobe, I mean, from the very beginning, from when he entered the league, he was phenomenal at the age of 17. And he was always a dominant player. And it's hard to look at any one of those particular championships and say, was this better than the next? I just remember the wonderful parades that the city put on. Go down Figueroa, the team would be riding on the top of a double-decker bus, and they'd be up there waving at the fans along both sides of the street. And, everybody was most excited to see Kobe up there.
Yeah,
he was always the most popular player on the team.
It was electric. Eric Spillman, thank you so much for giving us your thoughts on this very important day. So we appreciate you taking the time. We're going to go live now to Sam Rubin. He is covering the Grammys. He's there. Sam, I know he's at Staples Center. I know that you've been stunned by this news as well, and people are already, a lot of the people in the industry, stars and celebrities, are talking about this. What are you hearing there?
It's a really extraordinary circumstance, Mark and Lynette. Here we are at LA Live Plaza in the shadow of Staples Center. And what you were supposed to be seeing, people such as myself in tuxedos covering the Grammy Awards, what you're seeing is a gathering memorial, a spontaneous gathering of Laker fans. We talked to a few of them who said they just didn't know where else to go. The proximity directly to Staples is impeded by all the security surrounding the Grammys. So you're going to have an extraordinarily unusual circumstance. This gathering is only going to grow. More and more people who love Kobe so much, and as one fan said, they just didn't know where else to go, are going to come here at Staples. And of course, the Grammys are taking place at Staples.
Hey, what's up with it, Miss Jane Dizzo? Shout out to you for that donation yesterday.
One big question tonight: what will the Grammys do? I imagine they will have to salute Kobe Bryant in some extraordinary way. Of course, the Staples Center, the building where Kobe established himself as this Lakers superstar, and of course the home of the Grammys tonight. We're going to be here throughout the course of the afternoon. We'll check back with you in a little bit, but in the
I'm putting a link up in the chat room if anybody want to get on the panel and give their condolences to Kobe. You know, the lines are open. Hold on, let me put this up in here real quick. You know, just so we have it on record. Pay homage to one of the greatest, whoever did it, Kobe Bryant.
Athletic accomplishments, but you know very well that Kobe was breaking into the entertainment industry, and in fact, he was very much there. Can you talk about his transition from the court to essentially the silver screen, if you will?
Very briefly, Mark, yes, he was an Oscar winner. Dear Basketball, an animated film based on an original idea of Kobe's, received an Academy Award. He wanted to do more production work. He was in the process of involving himself in that. Right now, though, I think people are thinking about Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, the Angelino, his love of all things of Southern California. We're going to go here now, but we'll check back with you in a little bit.
Sam, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we'll stay in touch with you while you're there at the Staples Center. Everything changes. Today we're, as he said, you're expected to be covering the Grammys, and it's all anybody's going to be thinking about and feeling, even at the awards tonight. I think it's going to be really hard to celebrate the industry.
Yeah. What's up with it, Miss Jane
Dizzo? To be celebrating music when we've got
Hey, sweetness. Tell female sex what's happening there. Is that true about Kobe?
Well, he was known to kind of hang out.
Oh, for real? Look, my head, I'm going crazy. I'm up here being sad and shit. Look, like, okay, which way this go? I'm not good with this weave thing,
Yeah, it's a sad day in LA.
They what? Okay, what the hell? He was in a plane. Man, that's some like, oh my God, Kobe. You talking about Kobe, Laker Kobe? No, Jesus. Come on, man. You didn't say Kobe wasn't that bad. I mean, he got married, but she looked like she was mixed a little bit. I swear she got some black in the family somewhere. But anyway, no,
I think she was a Latina or something. His wife, I'm not sure what ethnicity she is, but condolences to the family, the whole Bryant family and stuff.
What's going on with that part? I gotta ask my hairdresser about that part. Anyway, really, I am just upset. I mean, I just click on your thing. I'm like, oh man, he on, cause we at the park, and it's a sunny day. A lovely day. And then you hear Kobe done crash into a goddamn mountain in Calabasas.
Yeah. And that's how he traveled. He traveled by helicopter.
You said what, sweetness?
I said that's how he traveled. He traveled by helicopter. So that was like his vehicle of choice. He'd be traveling back from Orange County to Calabasas, so it wasn't uncommon for him to be in a helicopter.
That is so, okay, but you can't question God. It's like good night. I can't. It's just like, damn, he's so young. We using our people so young, but even with what's the name, Aaliyah, shit, she was young and she was just getting started, man.
Yeah, she got took from this earth, physical plane of existence, like real young.
Yeah, she
Oh, did she
like left
die?
when
Aaliyah
I
died in a
was in like
helicopter
I
crash
just
too, huh?
entered the military. She was like I don't know 20 or something. Aaliyah.
I don't even remember. Wait a minute, because I'm getting stuff confused. Aaliyah, how did Aaliyah die in a helicopter
Plane
crash?
crash.
Plane crash, and how did Left Eye die?
She somebody said not somebody. I think, and I could be wrong. I ran off the road, some mountain.
Oh, okay. So Left Eye wasn't in the plane crash. That was Aaliyah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like they had a little video a while ago, like left eye last, moments, and it was like she was driving and stuff. She was going through like a spiritual renewal. You know what I'm saying? She was looking good, opening up her mind and all of that. And I don't know. Some people say like she saw something in the road or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, she was driving, and all of a sudden, she went off the road, and they were young. Left Eye was young too. I think she was in her 30s, maybe, because Left Eye was setting it off. And with the fires and everything. She was the first Angela Bassett. Can you hear me, Tree?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just looking at
Okay.
other YouTube channels and stuff because Triple just said Kobe Bryant about to crash YouTube. So I'm looking at other people having trouble going live right now on YouTube. They shit is just
Yeah.
buffering.
Yeah. Hey, Triple. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on and just what's up, female? If I didn't say what's up, I was trying to type back to her. Now I was like, wait a minute, Tree is giving the news. This
The
just
news, you
happened
know.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sister Patricia said that it's a lot of people out in LA right now just roaming the streets sad. She said it's crazy out here right now. I'm in the studio, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I just like did a double take because you're the last person. Well, shit, your last person you think is anybody. You don't want to wish that on anybody, but it's like, dang, that's why you appreciate everybody. Take each day to the fullest because I know, this probably like you said was a normal routine for him.
Hmm.
He what okay, yeah. I thought I was gonna get hit by a football. Like you said, he used to take the plane all the time, so he probably didn't think nothing of it. So it's like, y'all appreciate y'all ones next to y'all. Like, I swear, look, I done lost a lot last year, so it's like, and this year I got to go to somebody wake, this Friday. So in
Okay.
California, I don't know. I mean, it's probably real everywhere, but like I know I don't like come home that much because it's like everybody dying. So
Yeah.
it's like, that's why my mom going through it because all the people she grew up with is dying. And it's like,
Are you a
man,
basketball fan, Lady Jane?
I'm whatever fan my man is. So
Oh, okay. Was you familiar with Kobe Bryant? Did you used to watch him?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I was familiar with just like when he would get caught up, not so much, but I know like when he was like doing a lot of firsts, he was he wasn't a bad person. It's just like people only broadcast that once he cheated and all that shit in the scandal, he was more on focus. But he seemed like, besides all of that, a genuine, dude. So, people make mistakes, and his wife accepted that and they looked like they was getting everything back together. So, who knows?
Hey, Larry from the Bronx. I got that same question. Hold on, player. Let me read your thing. Larry from the Bronx said, Tria Mitty, can I ask you guys a question? Why TMZ always knows stuff before everybody get the news or info? Hey, man, I'm trying to figure that same thing out, man. That's a good fucking question, man. Cause that shit has had me boggled. I'm like, well, nigga, how fuck TMZ know? Nigga, they know before the police, before the they know before the people in the sky get your soul. When somebody die, TMZ know
But I mean,
beforehand.
shoot,
Shit.
we put one of our homies on something like this, who only job is to get the news. They probably get that shit too. I mean, you pay me a good handsome amount. I'll be in there 24/7 like a stalking motherfucker. You give
Nah,
me
but you
enough
gotta
money.
understand, man. The way TMZ get the shit is mind boggling. It's like they got bugs everywhere or cameras every motherfucking where, man. That's the only logical explanation I can give because they get shit
I
a
need to
lot
find out if
faster
they
than
got
everybody else.
I need to find out if they got a their own plane. You know, that little copter in the sky where they be just
Yeah,
going and
I'm talking about
flying
like
everywhere.
somebody can die and they heart be taking the last beats, and already TMZ got the news.
Don't go so high. There's a little baby. Oh, my bad. Let me
Hey,
take a
what's up with it,
nap.
Cookie Money? Salute, Larry. Bronx Legend Davis. What's popping with you, Playboy? V-Dub, Boogie up in the hizzle for shizzle. Blade, Brizown. What's up, man? Cookie say, what you say when you was in 5th grade? You know what I'm saying? You been following Kobe, Cookie? Blade Brown said he's going to start the conspiracy. Someone sabotaged the helicopter because they want to increase the value of Kobe memorabilia. Man, that memorabilia was going to be increased as it is. But no doubt the what's the name's going to start? The conspiracy theories. Hold on, let's check back in with the news and see what they talking about. They got his wife Vanessa up on the screen and shit like that. Hold on.
Okay.
I do believe, and if you can correct me if I'm wrong, that was the daughter that he recently took to the Lakers game, and he
that's his
he
daughter?
went viral for
Yeah.
essentially teaching her the Mamba mentality. He said, "This is how you plan the game. This is how you play it," and you just knew that
that's his daughter or his
she was a
wife?
piece of him. She was picking up everything that she was saying, and it
I
breaks
don't
my
know,
heart.
because
Just
Kobe got a
picturing
kid, but I
that
know
image
he
in
was
my head.
married. She
I
was
seeing
young.
it over and over again.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, he got
And
5
you could
kids.
see that she
Jane.
was
5?
mesmerized by him
Yeah.
and what he was telling her. She was listening to every single word that he had to say, and many people saw that. The cameras always captured him and Vanessa courtside, captured him with his family. They were everything. So it's not surprising that his daughter is a superstar and loved basketball. We're going to go live now to an eyewitness who saw exactly what happened. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what you saw, sir?
Eyewitness?
Yeah,
I think
he's
we've
about to
lost
talk right now.
our interview. Did you hear them? There you go. Hello there. This is Lynette and Mark from KTLA. You saw what happened. Can you tell us what you saw?
Hear anything? I hear it now. What did you see? Huh? What did you see? Tell me what you saw. I didn't. I heard everything. Tell me what you heard with the crash. What did you hear this morning? This morning at 9:45, I just came out and finished my setup for the church services, and a helicopter came from behind me, fluttered across the freeway at Lost Hills. It was in a slow hover. The cloud deck was very low, probably 300 or 400 feet above ground level. The helicopter slowed down. I could hear it directly above me, looking straight up, but I couldn't see it. So it was probably moving maybe 5 knots, searching around, maybe trying to spot a landing. I listened to it and went directly east over the Las Virgenes Water District. And 15 to 20 seconds later, I heard an impact, crunching fiberglass, and the rotors just immediately stopped within a half a second.
As we were talking about Kobe and his second oldest daughter, and we don't know these people, obviously, but you see them so much, and they share so much of their lives with us on social media, so you feel like you know them, and one really does have to think about his wife, Vanessa.
Right.
We were just talking about her this morning on an unrelated topic, but she has 4 beautiful children, and she had to live a very public life being married to Kobe Bryant.
Well,
we know there was a point.
now look here, man.
where
We didn't heard
the
2
marriage almost
reports.
ended.
He had 4,
But
then
in
5
life, as it
children.
goes, there are difficult situations, and she was
So
able
I'm trying to figure out
forgive,
what's going on.
and they
Dude, Kobe
really are
got
such a
another
beautiful family. So
daughter
one has
out of
to think
wedlock, and
of the terror that is going through her life at this hour. Not only losing the man who she loves, the father of her children, but again those reports right now that possibly his second oldest daughter was in that helicopter with him when it went down.
His oldest daughter is Natalia. I believe she's 17 years old. Gianna is 13 years old, and then
Man, the
Bianca
news reports are
and
confusing.
Capri.
They
if
said
we
that
could
none of his
take the
children or his
iPad
wife
here on the
was in the
desk, I want to read
helicopter.
to you
Now it's possible that
statement
one
from
of his
Mayor
daughters
Eric
was in there
Garcetti.
with him.
I'm going to read you just a little bit of it, but he says, Kobe Bryant was a giant who inspired, amazed, and thrilled people everywhere with his incomparable skill on the court, and awed us with his intellect and humility as a father, a husband, creative genius, and ambassador for the game that he loved. He will live forever in the heart of Los Angeles and will be remembered through the ages as one of our greatest heroes. This is a moment that leaves us struggling to find words that express the magnitude of shock and sorrow we are all feeling right now. And I am keeping Kobe's entire family in my prayers at this time of unimaginable grief. From Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Are we able to take the other iPad? Is that possible? What we've been doing, at least over the course of, since we got the news, is I've been on social media, and celebrities, in addition to everyone reacting to Kobe's news, are expressing their thoughts and their gratitude to Kobe Bryant. Justin Bieber posting this to Instagram a short time ago. He writes, "It can't be. You always encouraged me, Mamba." Mamba is what Kobe was known as, the Mamba mentality, as we say. "Gave me some of the best quotes that we smile about to this day. Love you, man." This right here from actor Rob Lowe. He writes, "There are no words today." That's a picture of Rob, obviously, and his son with Kobe at a Dodgers game. It shows how involved Kobe was in the community. This right here from Snoop Dogg. Snoop is obviously a huge basketball fan, a huge Lakers fan. He wrote, "My heart is broken, sending prayers to Vanessa and the kids." And he also wrote, "There will never be another." And he wrote 24 and 8. It's difficult to see it because of our graphic right there, but obviously 24/8 in reference to the two numbers that he wore while representing the purple and gold. And you just mentioned Mayor Eric Garcetti, the message he sent out. There's the tweet right there. And you can see the photo that he posted. The comments are going to continue to come in, not only from people here, but also athletes as well.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how quickly people really want to get out there because they know what he meant to people. And I'm compelled to scroll through Twitter and Instagram to see what people are saying. Brett Favre saying incredibly sad news about Kobe Bryant, prayers and condolences to his family. This is from Brett Favre. Again, there's so many. We'll continue to show them and let you know exactly what's happening. We're hearing from so many people. TMZ has been reporting from the beginning on this, and a lot of other outlets have been reporting. We do know that there were 5 people on that helicopter. It was Kobe's personal helicopter that he used for transportation from Newport Beach to wherever he was going. We have not gotten any official word. They have not held a news conference yet. That's going to happen in about an hour at the scene. But there have been many reports, obviously, that are confirming that Kobe was on board. There are new reports that his daughter Gianna was on board. No reports of who the other 3 people are. But that news is going to come out, and I think that's kind of what everybody's holding their breath about, not knowing who those other 3 people were. All 5 people on board that helicopter died.
We do have 2 images that we're bringing you, of course, but on the left right there is what's left of the wreck that happened. So if you are just joining us, this all started close to about 10 o'clock this morning. It was in Malibu, close to the Calabasas area. So you know this area. It's Highway 101. You take the Las Virgenes exit. If you're someone that's moving southbound, you take a right. If you're moving northbound, you take a left, and that'll send you up Las Virgenes, right at Willow Glen. So if you're familiar with this area, you know it's near areas like Wright Middle School, and there's a popular dog park. But again, 5 people were inside getting reports that they were headed to some sort of a basketball academy.
Right. There are reports that they were going to the Mamba Academy,
right.
Which and she had basketball practice at the academy, which is in nearby Thousand Oaks. And you know, if you follow the family, you do know that he would call affectionately Gianna, he would call her Gigi. She was the daughter known as Gigi, and she was often by his side. So she was going to the academy. That's, you know, if you can go to your dad's Mamba Academy, you're very lucky to be there. And she took pride in sitting next to her dad at these games and being by his side as much as possible. And that's what they were doing today.
We also continue to stand by, obviously, awaiting word from the Bus family, Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers. They're obviously devastated by this news, so we continue to stand by and see how it is that they're going to speak to Laker Nation. In addition to that, curious to see what Magic Johnson has to say. And also LeBron James. It was a big night. It was a historic night in the NBA last night. LeBron James last night just passed Kobe Bryant to become the 3rd highest scoring NBA player of all time. And you talk about the man that Kobe's become. He was so competitive, but he was so honored, you could tell, that LeBron James was able to reach that feat. And LeBron's going to continue to grow. And we also stand by. We want to know where LeBron was when he got the news. This is now his town, and he took it over from Kobe. And it's a huge part of who the Lakers are, what Laker Nation is all about. And as we saw with Sam Rubin earlier, there is a big crowd that is starting to gather outside of Staples Center at LA Live. It's a big night, of course, in the entertainment industry because of the Grammys. But again, so many folks are now focusing outside of Staples Center as they work to pay their respects to what Eric Spillman said, one of the greatest basketball players to ever live.
And one of the other legendary basketball players, Bill Russell, who you would know was a former professional player as well with the Celtics and the NBA, a 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player. And he took to Twitter today to say this: Janine and I are absolutely shocked to hear of the loss of one of my favorite people and one of the best basketball minds in the history of the game. Our hearts and prayers to Vanessa and his girls. Kobe Bryant, you were my biggest fan, but I was yours. So that's from Bill Russell. And if you know anything about basketball, you know about Bill Russell. And so when you look at that picture, you know, what a beautiful picture of two legends. And they admired each other, and that says a lot, right? It says a lot. So as we continue to scroll through some of these comments, we're trying to get the perspective from people who knew him, who knew a part of him that we didn't. We knew so much, but we all know that that's just stuff on the surface. So we're going to hear and see a lot more about Kobe Bryant as more and more people want to share their grief and their experiences with him.
Is there a game that you can think about that sort of sparks a memory, makes you smile? Is there a moment that you can think about when you think about who Kobe Bryant was and what he did for the city?
I think it's very similar to what Eric talked about, because I guess I hadn't been here that long. I don't know how long I'd been. I don't even remember the years of the parades when they took one of the championships, and I was out on the street, you know, reporting, and couldn't wait for that double-decker bus to come by, and you couldn't even hear the crowd before you would feel the crowd before you could hear it, because they were screaming so loud. The cement was just vibrating with the excitement, and as Eric said, when you got a glimpse of Kobe Bryant, that was everything, and that's what they were waiting for, just a glimpse of him. And he was so happy. He was out of his mind, happy and excited, and wanting to share it with the fans. And that's one of the things when you talk about an amazing basketball player like he was. Nothing made him happier than the fans that knew him and loved him and respected him. And it's not easy. What he was doing was not easy, because the fans, you know, when he didn't get it right, they made sure to tell him. And so there's a love-hate relationship there so often. But for him, the fans were everything, and you could just see him light up when he would be able to get a glimpse of them. And that crowd just went wild. So I'll always think of that, and knowing just to be part of history. That was history. We were a part of that.
I think it was, I can't remember if it was 2005, 6, or 7, but Shaq was off the team. They were playing the Phoenix Suns, and Steve Nash was on that team, and they were an incredible basketball team, and it was really difficult for the Lakers to beat them because they just weren't stacked. But I remember, I think it was Game 5, and there was like 7 seconds left on the clock. He had the ball, and you just knew. You knew the ball was going in. And he made a last-second buzzer-beating shot. They ended up losing the series, but that shot, I'll never forget it, because the conviction, the way he shot the ball, his confidence, the way he sort of took that second run, that second team, and put it on his back, that's what's going to certainly resonate with me as I remember some of the great moments that he had. And it's incredible. He lived up to some pretty incredible expectations. Of course, he had to follow in the footsteps of Michael Jordan. And when you think about basketball, does it get bigger than Michael Jordan? And he didn't reach the same number of titles. He could have, based on who they could and couldn't bring to the team at the time. But you know, even Michael Jordan said Kobe Bryant, you know, among the top 3 to ever play the game.
Yeah, I think that's what's really interesting when you think about the other legends and how they revered him as well. And to have that mutual respect was so important. As I'm reading through all of the things that he has done, when you just look at the long list, knowing that he was an 18-time All-Star, a 15-time member of the All-NBA team, a 12-time member of the All-Defensive team. He was the NBA's most valuable player in 2008, regarded as one of the greatest in basketball of all time. He led the NBA in scoring during 2 seasons, ranks 4th on the league's all-time regular season scoring. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Being the youngest ever drafted, he played his entire career in Los Angeles, and that's why when you think about LA basketball, you think about Kobe Bryant. There's no separating that. And to know that we've watched him grow up. We were there when he married Vanessa. That was in 2001, and I remember, you know, them talking about their first baby when they got pregnant, and all of the things that we've seen as he's had, you know, 4 children, 4 little girls. His youngest was just born in June. And I remember also thinking that, wow, his girls are so much older and now he's having a baby. But when he announced it, he was so excited about it, to have a new baby. That was his everything. The family was his everything.
I think that's what's so tragic, because the first 3 girls, he was still very much a basketball player when they were growing up. But he had the time now to raise this baby girl. And you really have to think about his wife, 3 daughters, all the family that's impacted. If we can take iPad B real quick, the President of the United States has just tweeted to show you what a big moment this is. The President writes the following: reports are that basketball great Kobe Bryant and 3 others have been killed in a helicopter crash in California. This is terrible news. Again, these are reports coming from the nation's capital. We have heard reports that 5 people were killed. So we just wanted to update you with that information. But the president is aware, and it shows you how big of a person Kobe was. The fact that the commander-in-chief, the most powerful person in the world, is essentially honoring this basketball great by sending out this message. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more, not only from President Trump, but some of the leaders that work in the nation's capital as well.
What about you, Mark? Do you have any memories of reporting on him or the Lakers or fans? You know, oftentimes we're sent to talk to fans, and boy, fans have a lot of things to say about Kobe Bryant.
I think it's the respect that you were talking about. Kobe Bryant went to a Lakers game the other week, and I saw the video, and when he walked onto the court, it wasn't, center court, but he walked along the side. I think him and LeBron James had a handshake. Everyone in the room was looking at it. All the cameras were pointed in that direction, because he didn't demand it. He earned it. He was the most famous man in Los Angeles, you could say, at least from an athletic standpoint. I also did not grow up a Lakers fan. I didn't understand who Kobe was. I didn't know about Mamba mentality.
Hey, for Shizzle MJ, have a good one, Playboy. Thank you for tuning in. R.I.P. Kobe, man. So yeah, it's more updated reports coming in, developing reports. Apparently, it seems like his daughter was one of the victims in the helicopter crash.
What happened here, if you're just joining us, it's just after 1 o'clock on Sunday morning. We got news of this helicopter crash just after 10 o'clock this morning, and it has now been confirmed that Kobe Bryant was with, we believe, 4 other people in his private helicopter when it crashed. We also know that a fire broke out on that hillside. There was a tremendous emergency response with first responders on scene, and they were able to pretty much immediately confirm that no one on board survived that crash. We have heard reports and been told by a number of different sources that Vanessa, his wife, was not among those on board. And we've also have made reports that his daughter, Gianna, was on that helicopter with him and died in that helicopter crash. Those are the only 2 people that have been identified at this point, not by authorities, but by sources. Authorities are going to be giving a news conference in about the next 55 minutes. We, of course, will be there to get the very latest. We're trying to desperately get some official confirmation about all the things that we're talking to you about. To also tell you kind of where this is. We've heard from people who are on the scene just how busy the area is where this happened. And if you know the area I believe it's Malibu. We are here in Calabasas. It might just be right there, on the border, but it's near the Church of the Canyon. It's across the street from Church of the Canyon on Virginis Road there. And that's where you're going to see a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic in that area. A lot of people compelled to go there. A lot of people are compelled to go to Staples Center, as you heard from Sam Rubin, that it was an impromptu memorial. And that's what you see in these terrible tragedies. This is
that Gigi?
This must be video of Gianna in her basketball playing. She's a basketball star in her own right. And this is Kobe. He posted this. She's working and getting better every day. Ball is life. Team Mamba.
He was very passionate. He coached the team, and he went viral. I think last year at one point, they lost a game, and he called them out on social media, saying, some people just didn't have their head in the game, and people criticized him for it, and he took it in stride, I guess. But I think the point is that he was very much committed to winning. And one person who knows about Kobe's streak in winning is our own Glenn Walker, in addition to anchoring newscasts here at KTLA. Glenn, you're obviously someone who's very involved in sports. Can you tell us when it is that you got the news and your reaction?
It was interesting. There was a KTLA tweet that said there was a helicopter crash in Calabasas. My wife Jody showed it to me. And then I went to the gym and the news broke, and it was interesting to watch people walk by the TV monitor and stop and just kind of glance and then just stop, totally stunned and astonished about what they were seeing. There's been a lot of great athletes that have come through Los Angeles, but, he's one of the iconic figures one of the all-time greats. And to die tragically today at 41 years old is it's just way too soon for someone like that.
Glenn, you've worked in Los Angeles, you've worked in New York, you've worked in some major sports markets. Can you think of an athlete that has had more of an impact on the city that he lived in, the city that he played in, than Kobe Bryant?
Well, I think somebody like Michael Jordan comes to mind, which Chicago's the number 3 market. This is the number 2 market. But what separates Los Angeles and New York City from other markets is the sports dollar and the interest in so many teams is spread so far and wide. I mean, in this town, we've got 2 of everything, 2 NFL teams, 2 Major League teams, 2 NBA teams. Now we even have 2 soccer teams. We have 2 hockey teams. In the Los Angeles market, of course, I'm including, Orange County, the Angels and the Ducks. So it's hard for an athlete to break through and become an iconic figure like, look back, Sandy Koufax of the Dodgers, Jerry West of the Lakers, Magic Johnson, Marcus Allen of the Raiders when the Raiders were the Los Angeles Raiders. There's so much competition for the fans' interest and the dollars to go see a game that it's tough to break through. When they do break through, they become superstars because this is the entertainment capital of the world, and a lot of them, like Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant, become international figures. And that's exactly what he did, and he did that by winning 5 NBA championships with the Lakers, and that's the type of resume that puts him above the rest. So I would say at this point, he, in my mind, is probably the most iconic sports figure to ever come through Los Angeles, and that says a lot because there's been a lot of great legends.
Well, and when you say that, Glenn, it really rings true because we're hearing from those legends. Those very legends are saying Kobe was one of the greatest of all time. So when you have that kind of respect all the way around from the top all the way down, that shows you the presence you have made and the lasting legacy that you've lived. And that's really what it's about. We've been hearing that. We're waiting for a news conference from Kobe's high school. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So he was born in Philadelphia, and he, as you know, he was drafted right out of high school, the youngest ever to be drafted in the NBA. And he went to Lower Merion High School in Ardmore. Now, he's such a superstar here. Can you imagine what it was like going to high school with Kobe Bryant? He was a superstar there. He played on the basketball team, of course, as a freshman, on the varsity basketball team as a freshman. He was the first freshman in decades to start for Lower Merion's varsity team. So he established such a presence there, and he was so known there and then became known all over the country. During his junior year, he averaged 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. And he was also named Pennsylvania Player of the Year. So that's a little bit about his high school. They are going to be holding a news conference, Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia. When that happens, we, of course, will go there live and bring you that. Other things that are happening today, we heard from Sam Rubin earlier. He is outside of Staples Center because that's where the Grammys are going to be tonight. And there is an impromptu memorial happening there. People, as we said, are compelled to go to Staples Center to be together, to pay their respects. You're going to see flowers, you're going to see candles, you're going to see notes where people are going to try to reach out because so many people are desperate to find something to do, some way to honor him.
Glenn, if you're still with us, we were talking about some of the memories that come to mind when you think about Kobe Bryant. Maybe it was something he said or a shot that he made. And as someone like yourself who covers sports so well, is there a moment, is there a shot that comes to mind? Maybe that assist that he gave to Shaq when he slam dunked? Go for it.
I think to me the biggest moment that I remember is when he won that first NBA title without Shaq. You know, he won 3 with Shaq, and then there was kind of a parting of the ways. Shaq goes to Miami and wins the title, kind of proving his point. But then Kobe one-ups him by winning 2 titles when he was the man instead of Shaq. And there's a story I heard a long time ago when they started to have differences with each other. Someone I know knew someone that worked for the Lakers, and I'm not going to say who it is because people could probably figure it out. But he said, what is the deal with those two? And he said, all I can tell you is this, and this is nothing to slam Shaq, but he said when practice is over, he says one of them goes home or whatever. The other one stays behind and grabs probably a dozen folding chairs and places them on different places on the court. And he goes and starts shooting behind each one of those folding chairs and doesn't leave until he makes a shot from every one of them.
Just some of the commitment to winning, the type of game that he played. Glenn Walker. Glenn, thanks so much for your thoughts and for the information that you just brought us.
We're going to go back now to Sam Rubin. He is live outside of Staples Center. Sam, you were there for the Grammys, and everything has changed.
Everything indeed has changed here at LA Live Plaza, and I tell you what, it's just sort of communal grief. This picture you can see of Kobe Bryant was popped up on the screen just about a minute ago, and you just saw people sort of applauding this plaza continuing to fill up, people reacting as one can. There, the gathering of flowers and fans, and I think people just didn't know where to go and wanted someplace to be with others who feel as they feel. Again, in the contrast is the Microsoft Theater there. Preliminary Grammys are taking place now. The Grammy ceremony, of course, set for 5 o'clock this afternoon. The Grammy red carpet, which is a secure area, will open up at about 2 o'clock. So you'll have all these people pouring into Staples. And I think one question tonight, what do Grammy producers do? A live show with global attention all around the world in the exact same building, so firmly established by Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. It's the home of the Lakers, obviously, and now the home of music's biggest night. Is it one particular moment? Is there some sort of musical salute? How will Kobe, be acknowledged by the Grammy community tonight? I think is something obviously acknowledged by his fans here in an extraordinary way. And one thing that would normally happen is a lot more security surrounding the Grammys. So this is sort of almost an overflow area, which I think they would normally close off. I think they will now not close it off because I think fans want to have a place to gather. And we're seeing so many in their jerseys saluting Kobe and other
what's up with
Lakers
it, Jane
as well.
Doe?
And again, people here not dissimilar.
Hey, sweetness.
Sir, come here. You showed us that poster. Let me come over here for just a minute.
I'm Santana.
You brought that poster with you.
Sure.
And what prompted you to do that?
I've had this poster on my wall everywhere that I've lived since I was a kid. I'm 30 years old now. Had this poster in my room everywhere I moved to. He was my hero.
People asking this question because there are people from all over the world here covering the Grammys. What does Kobe Bryant mean to Los Angeles, mean to Southern California?
He wasn't just a Laker. He represented us. He wasn't just a Laker. He was LA.
Trey.
He was a hero, a role model to a lot of us that didn't have role models.
Following is what I can say on behalf of the school district. The Lower Merion School District community is deeply saddened.
Hey, what's up, Jane Doe? I'm here. I'm just listening to these updates with Kobe.
Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Mr. Bryant's connection to Lower Merion High School, where he played basketball prior to joining the NBA, has raised the profile of our high school and our district throughout the world. Our school community will always be grateful for his ongoing generosity to his alma mater, including his dedication of our Kobe Bryant Gymnasium and his support of our girls and boys basketball teams. Greg Downer coached Mr. Bryant from 1992 to 1996. In that time, Mr. Bryant led his team to the 1996 state championship. Mr. Downer said that he is completely shocked and devastated today upon hearing the news, adding that Aces Nation...
We are hearing from officials at Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia. That is where Kobe Bryant went to high school. We were also hearing from Sam Rubin, who's talking to people at Staples Center before the Grammys. So we're going to go back to him. Sam, we were captivated by that fan. You could just see the pain in his heart at what he's found out tonight.
Yes, Lynette, no question about it, and he is not alone. There are many, many fans here, and again, you're just sort of seeing the plaza continue to fill up as I think people want to be with other people. In fact, the signs, Chris will point upwards a little bit, has just extended now to the other screens here in the plaza. So this is obviously the place to be. And again, normally this would be easily accessible because of the Grammy Awards and the security surrounding the Grammy Awards. It isn't that way. There's really only one entrance that I can see off of Olympic and Figueroa, and normally that entrance would be cut off, but they haven't cut it off yet because I think people want to be here and want to express their feelings. And then again, it's just so ironic to have the Staples Center, right there, and again, it will be the Grammys. We're going to sign off for a little bit from down here, but again, KTLA's coverage of this extraordinary and deeply unwelcome story will continue. We'll go back to the two of you in Hollywood.
Sam, thank you for that. We are going to go to Erin Myers. She is on the scene, on the ground now at the scene, to give us a perspective there. Erin, we've been seeing the crowd also gathering there at the crash site. What have you experienced trying to get there? Was it difficult to get to? Is there still a large crowd there?
There's a huge crowd here. We're on Las Virgenes, and you can see people out here. This is very close to the crash site, Las Virgenes Road and Willow Glen Street, and then the helicopter actually crashed in the mountains above there, the hillside, and you can see the smoke. But there are residents out here, fans out here, and then over on Lost Hills as well. There are just cars lining the street, so much traffic as people try to make way out here to pay their respects to Kobe Bryant. Our hearing reports also that he lost a daughter, a 13-year-old. TMZ first reported that. But I do have some residents and fans out here. Everybody in shock today. I'm here with Rose, Brad, and Ali. They all live in this area. Now, what you guys said you heard this morning. And how shocked are you now to hear this news?
Well, we really thought it was a joke. My son sent my husband a text saying that he had passed, and we just thought that he was playing a prank. And then when I drove by here prior to all of this, I could see smoke on the hill, and I thought that it was just a fire. But I knew something really bad because all the media was out here, and our hearts are breaking. For her, for the family, for the mom, it's just heartbreaking. It just makes me want to cry, truly.
I know your husband, Brad, you're a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Talk to us a little bit about him, what you loved about him so much.
Well, actually, my kids' first words when they were able to talk was Kobe and Shaq. And I taught him Kobe, Shaq, Fisher. I taught him the starting lineup for the Lakers. So we watched him every 20 years straight.
Wow.
He was just part of my life. So he's going to be, I'm still in shock.
And the talent he had, I mean, describe that. I mean, you don't see
Yeah, his
people
daughter
with
died
that
too,
kind of
Jane.
talent,
13 years
who
old.
are so great at what they do.
Yeah, it's that combined with the worth ethic.
No, not the 13. I thought it not okay. They were saying was the oldest with her.
Behind me,
With them too.
You live here, also a huge Kobe fan. How are you feeling right now when you hear this news?
It's a terrible.
Nah, right now they're just saying it was a 13-year-old daughter.
The thing is, it happened the day after LeBron passed his Kobe's record. So it's very insane, surreal, and it's funny enough.
All right, Tree. I'm gonna check back in with you when I get to his house.
So,
all right.
I had to come
I'm gonna start another show later on after I get finished with this Kobe Bryant report.
Pouring for him.
All right,
what
take
does
care.
that mean as a fan to see so many people here and just, I mean, everybody's just standing here and they've been here for hours.
It lets you know that Kobe had a real effect on everybody, and everyone respects Kobe. And no disrespect, but he went out on the top now. Like he already went out on top, but now just to see the love that he's getting, it's what he deserves.
And then I know I'm hearing you were one of the first people out here actually. Talk about how this has grown and the love that you're seeing here.
We came out here maybe about like 30 people, and now like just within that quick second. And the funny thing is, at first I was like, are they gonna let us go through? And then my girlfriend was like, they're not saying anything, so let's just go. So we had to go. You know what I mean? There was no reason not to go. If you can go and show your respect to one of the GOATs, then you better do it.
And then how long are you planning to stay out here? What are you guys going to do?
I don't know how long I'm going to stay out here, but as long as my heart tells me to stay, I'm going to stay. You know what I mean?
Thank you for talking to us so much. And then also, Brad, you were saying that you kind of have a connection. You know families that have played basketball with their kids too, and Kobe's daughter.
Yeah, he's just a wonderful father. A friend of mine's daughter plays in the same league over at the Mamba Center with Kobe's daughter, and she showed me videos, and she actually, last time they played, she actually beat Kobe. So she told everybody at work she's real excited about that. But he was always there.
And then a little bit about the Mamba Center, knowing that that's there for the community, you live so close. I mean, what has that brought to this area?
Well, it gives us a chance to have somewhere to go play. I mean, I played high school basketball, so there's not many places around here like it. It's an incredible place. You can just take the family and hang out and meet other people, and yeah, it's great.
And then having this love, obviously, first words Kobe, for your kids. I mean, were you guys at games a lot? I mean, what was that experience like for you as a family?
We couldn't really afford to go to the games growing up, so we would watch it every Friday night at my mom's house in Northridge. Literally every Friday night, we never missed a game.
And then when Kobe started playing, what did that bring to the Lakers?
Championships. What else is there?
A lot of excitement because everybody thought he was just this superhuman person, which he was, really, at the end of the day. He was just an amazing human being, and this is why hundreds of people are here paying their respects to this amazing human being.
And did this surprise you? You live right near here. Did it surprise you to come out and see all of this and see everybody here at all?
Not
really.
at all. I think you're going to see 10 times the amount of people here pretty soon.
And then what are your plans today? Are you going to stay out here for a while and just kind of pay your respects, or?
It gave me 20 years. I've got nowhere to go. I'm going to be here.
Thank you both for talking to us so much. We really appreciate it. And once again here in Calabasas, you can see the crowd. It's continuing to grow. Streets are lined. They have blocked off Las Virgenes Road, but there's a lot of traffic in this area as people pay their respects to NBA great, Laker great, Kobe Bryant. And that's the very latest details we have here in Calabasas, and we'll bring you more as we get it. That's the very latest here. I'm Erin Myers. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Erin Myers there. Erin, obviously speaking to fans that are devastated, I was really moved by the fan that Sam Rubin was speaking to, and he described Kobe as his hero.
Yeah.
And you heard his voice break up, and you saw the tears. And as we continue to look at this video, it's just heartbreaking to know that, essentially a good portion of the Bryant family is broken apart at this hour. Again, it was Kobe who was on that plane that we confirmed, and it was the second oldest daughter. They called her Gigi?
Called her Gigi. Gianna. That's her name, Gigi.
And she played basketball. I'm not certain if she played volleyball, but this was a very athletic family. They called Southern California home. They famously lived in Orange County. And as we talk about this investigation, the fact that Kobe was in a helicopter speaks to a lot, because that was his main mode of transportation. He was famously known as the player who would take helicopters to Lakers games, and he did so, he said, to keep his body fresh. Glenn Walker was also talking about his commitment to winning and his commitment to excellence. Practice would end, Kobe would stay, and he would practice his shots. I remember a story when he was on the Olympic team, and there were so many good players on that team that represented the United States that the coach of the team, I believe he was the head coach of Duke University, and he would give the ball to players and he would say, "Here, take a three." And they said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, there's so many good players, you're going to have open opportunities to take threes." So Kobe took a three and he missed it. And then he spent the rest of the afternoon hitting that shot. He practiced all day until he nailed every one. He wanted to make sure that he was a perfectionist. And he was a perfectionist.
Right.
It spoke to what he did.
It says so much.
5 NBA championships, and he did it twice. There was the first three-peat, and then he did it the second time, as Glenn was talking about. When he won the fourth championship, that really solidified, I think, his greatness and how he's going to be remembered in terms of basketball.
We've been talking about the Grammys happening at Staples Center tonight. We're going to go live now to Doug Kolk. He is on the red carpet. As we've been saying, Doug, for the last hour or so, everything has changed now there.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you my timeline of events. First off, I can say the shock quickly spread throughout Staples Center LA Live. I pulled in here around 11:15 this morning, and as I was entering the garage, I heard a security attendant say, "Hey, did you hear about Kobe Bryant?" And I thought nothing of it. And then as I was pulling down in the garage, I got a text message from my brother that said Kobe had died. And I immediately dismissed that as fake news. But then as soon as I got out of my car, more security guards were talking about it, and it was around that time that everything spread. I came up, I entered LA Live, and everybody was talking about it, even the security guards who have a job to do, checking everybody in. But I mean, it was certainly the topic of conversation entering here, and it wasn't long after that word had spread throughout the entire carpet here. This is a man who, yes, of course he meant a tremendous amount to sports, but his career really transcended beyond sports into entertainment. Let's not forget, Kobe Bryant in his early 2000s was a rapper. He had a rap group that never released an album, but he released an EP. He had a record label that he started. Lil Wayne has a song named Kobe Bryant. He took Brandy to his senior prom. Brandy, by the way, also Grammy nominated and should be on the carpet today. Not to mention, Kobe Bryant also has an Oscar. He won last year for Deer Basketball. It was a documentary short, but at the time he even stated that it was better than winning an NBA championship, and you know he has plenty of those. So it's certainly going to be a day of remembrance today at this carpet, and certainly overshadowing the awards itself. We'll send it back to you.
Doug, if we can keep you there, we're talking about NBA and its relationship to the entertainment world. We do have an Instagram post from the artist known as The Game. We're going to bring it up on the iPad for our viewers real quick. And The Game, well, it's actually the other iPad, which is B. If it's not available, let me know. We'll try to reconnect right here. But I will work to get it back. Essentially what The Game was saying, Mark, though, is that he's heartbroken. He is hurt. This is truly a sad day for Los Angeles, the game of basketball, and the entire world. My heart is with Vanessa, those beautiful baby girls, and the immediate family. Kobe, man, thank you for everything over the years, especially advice, short talks with my boys, and all that you've contributed. I love you, brother. Rest well. Again, Doug, that was from The Game, and I'm certain we're going to be hearing messages like this, not only on the red carpet, but possibly even on the stage tonight.
You know, Mark, think about, this is LA. You know, a Laker game courtside is the mecca for anybody in entertainment. Think about for the 20 years that Kobe Bryant was here, and how he and when he played on the court, and how many celebrities sat courtside, how many people he was familiar with after he shot hit a bucket would go over and celebrate with him. I mean, people shared that enthusiasm with him. As a matter of fact, I think, what was it, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I saw Kobe Bryant at the Just Mercy premiere, a film with Jamie Foxx. Yeah, he was one of the few athletes who completely transcended beyond sports and into music, into entertainment, into film.
Doug, thank you for that. As we're looking through all the social media, so many celebrities, as we've been talking about, are reaching out, and they want to express, you know, what they are feeling.
That is what there's the post that he did, and he provided several photos.
Saying, I'm heartbroken, hurt. This is truly a sad day for Los Angeles, the game of basketball in the entire world. And it absolutely is. We've heard from DJ Khaled. He also posted saying, rest in peace, Kobe. This is heartbreaking, unbelievable. You know, these are people that you'd see Kobe hanging out with. You'd see them coming out of, you know, a fancy restaurant somewhere where they spent time. These are his friends. He was part of the industry. You know, while we're on here, I just want to show you one thing that
Sure.
that I pulled up, because this is really interesting to me. This is, yeah, the Pro Bowl. I'm going to play this. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the audio of it. There was a moment of silence, and it turned into chants for Kobe. Let me play this for you.
Their lives in today's accident, including NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Kobe was an extraordinary athlete who thrilled and entertained sports fans around the world for a generation. Thank you.
So you can really see how an entire stadium full of people can't stop themselves from chanting his name.
It's not just there. The Spurs are playing the Raptors right now, and they started the game with a 24-second violation. And 24 is the number that Kobe wore. And so they're paying their respects to him there. We also talked about how Kobe is an Oscar winner, and the Academy is speaking out right now. They just posted that to Instagram, and they provided a caption. You have part of it right there, yeah?
They doubted a kid could make it in the NBA, and he proved them wrong. They doubted he could win a championship, and he proved them wrong. They doubted he could make movies, and he won an Oscar. Like all great artists, Kobe Bryant proved the doubters wrong. Rest in peace. That's coming from the Academy. And do you remember the picture of him when he was kissing the Oscar?
I do.
He was so happy, saying that this was the biggest honor he could get. After winning 5 championships and all the other accolades that he won on the court, an Oscar was pretty amazing for him. And you can see why. Dear Basketball, that's what.
Dear Basketball,
Dear
that was the
Basketball,
name.
That was
right.
the name of it. Mm-hmm.
And he did the voiceover for it as well. It's interesting when you talk about how he was able to turn his life around, though, because he did have some controversy in his life involving his personal relationships. And when you think about who Kobe is now, in fact, we could even speak to someone who knows very well. Frank Buckley joins us live on the phone. Frank, I thought about you because I remember when you got the chance to sit down with Kobe for Frank Buckley Interviews podcast and also the show that airs here. I was very jealous of you because, my goodness, who doesn't want the chance to sit down to speak with arguably the greatest basketball player of all time?
Well, it was one of those moments, Mark, sitting down across from Kobe. And, you got to keep your focus. But, as a huge, lifelong Lakers fan, to sit with someone like Kobe Bryant was, I was a little starstruck. But, we focused and talked about what he was up to. And the occasion was the opening of the Mamba Academy. And, what he talked about through that interview was the fact that, he wanted to spend this part of his life, his post-basketball, professional basketball life, teaching young people, whether it was on the basketball court or through his Wizenard book series or through his film, Dear Basketball, which you guys were just talking about, that won an Academy Award. I mean, it was the first thing he did literally the day after he played in his final game. He talked to me about the next morning. He got up, had a conference call with the folks who were putting that film together, and they started moving forward immediately. And, that's the kind of guy he was. I'm not going to say that I was his friend or knew him personally. I sat with him for that one interview. But I can say that as every Lakers fan in this town, I feel like I've been punched in the gut this morning.
Frank, we're going to pause because we have a clip from your podcast. Let's listen.
The Lakers right now got one of the best players in the world, maybe the best player who's still active, in LeBron James. A younger squad playing with him. They haven't been able to get it done this year. Yeah. Are you disappointed in where they are right now, or is it just a moment in time and they'll be okay?
Nah, I think we got to kind of step back and have some perspective, because they were playing really, really well and found themselves really in the thick of the playoff race. And then you had injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Rondo going in and out. You had LeBron have a major injury. You had Kuz going in and out. You got Lonzo going in and out. I mean, come on now. In a tough Western Conference, how are you supposed to sustain that?
As you said, LA wants a champion. Everyone's pointing fingers. A lot of the fingers are going at Luke Walton. What do you think?
What's he supposed to do? I mean, you got half the team injured. He's supposed, that's the part that drives me crazy. I'll give you an example. So people talk about Phil Jackson. They talk about Greg Popovich. And they say, okay, well, you won because you had Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. Or Phil, you won because you had Kobe and Shaq or Michael. Who the hell are you supposed to win with?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you supposed to win with, right? And now you look at Luke's situation here, and having his key guys go down. What is he supposed to do? I mean, the fact that the team's head is still above water is amazing. Yeah.
Frank, that was the interview, and as you heard it just there, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've been looking through the interview that we did with Kobe just to see what he was talking about. And there was another part of it that we didn't play just now. But, I asked him what he hoped to be doing 5 years from now. That I said, when we sit down 5 years from now, what are we going to be talking about? And it was about, he said he wanted to have to be talking about their first feature animated film. He was saying that the Wizenard book series he wanted to turn into a Broadway musical. And then at the Mamba Academy, he was saying, you know, inspiring the next generation of athletes. He said at the end of it, we can teach them how to be better citizens of the world, man. Then we've done our job. And that's the sort of the pivot that he had taken in his life. Basketball was behind him. He was not, you know, ever going to, despite all of us wanting last year, especially for him to get back on the court, that was not going to happen. But he was going to inspire the next generation of athletes. He was going to tell stories and try to inspire young people. And sadly, you know, that's what I kept going back to myself today was, damn, I'm not going to sit down with him 5 years from now. What are we going to miss from Kobe Bryant over the next 5 years?
Yeah, what are we going to miss? And there's so much that we have. We're just peeling back so many things. You just talked about him being an author in his book. And if we can take the iPad to show this, this is one of his books, Legacy and the Queen. And let me just read to you what they're saying about the author. Kobe Bryant is an Academy Award-winning storyteller and content creator. He spends his days building stories to inspire the next generation of athletes to be the best versions of themselves. He wanted to share all he learned with young athletes around the world. And then if you look at what he said, this is the front of it. Created by Kobe Bryant, Legacy and the Queen. And he says to Nani, who's Natalia, his oldest, Gigi, Bibi, and Coco, my 4 beautiful, spirited, strong daughters, when you fiercely protect your passion, no one can ever steal your dreams. Kobe Bryant.
It takes you back.
There's so many things that he had done.
He talks about his daughters, and I'll tell you, even just in that brief time that I spent with Kobe Bryant, we did that in Thousand Oaks at the Mamba Academy, and he had to get going because he had his helicopter waiting, and he was going to fly back to Orange County to pick up his daughters from school. That was his life. He used that helicopter, as I understood it, just to be efficient. He didn't want to sit in traffic wasting time like the rest of us do. And he had the means to get in a helicopter and do both things, run his businesses, be involved in all of that, and also be very present for his family. And, that's where, as a fellow dad, I went, just like, thinking about his kids, and it's really, we talk about these people as legends and as great basketball players, but at the end of the day, in my experience in talking to so many famous people, that they put their pants on one leg at a time. They're people who have families and friends and problems and challenges and triumphs, and he was just like us in that respect, and he cared deeply about his daughters.
Frank, talking about the fact that you are a father and you have 2 boys, I just received a text from a close friend of mine. He grew up here in Los Angeles. I asked him how he's doing, and he said, Kobe Bryant gave me the greatest childhood I could have ever asked for. And you raised your 2 boys here in this city. Do you think about, your kids essentially grew up with the Lakers as champions of the world. Do you think about that? Are you going to talk to them about that?
Oh yeah, they both are devastated today. They're both basketball players themselves. We have so many memories. I was thinking about one that I had the incredible honor to go with my son Ben to a game. It was the Lakers against Miami, and it was that game where Kobe made the last second shot against Miami, and fans will remember that shot. And we literally were sitting right behind Vanessa. We had these crazy seats. It was, and Ben was a young boy then. And so, your head goes back to moments like that. And, and I'm sure that's multiplied hundreds of thousands of times over with parents all over the city.
Frank, we feel your pain, and we know there are millions right alongside with you who are crying tears. And we definitely feel for you this afternoon. We want to break in right here and hear from Doc Rivers, the head coach of the LA Clippers. Let's listen in.
For all of us, and sorry I don't have a lot to say. I just can't. I have to go talk to a team before a game and tell them to play a game.
What was your last interaction with Kobe like?
That was great. We were at a function about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we sat and talked for probably 45 minutes. You know, we always like to reminisce. We would always laugh at our versions of our losses. You know, when we beat them in 2008, he had his version, and when they beat us in 2010, I had my version, and we would laugh at how different we looked at the games. You know. This is a great loss for the league, and I thought he had so much more left to do, you know, and he was starting to do it. Never seen him happier, you know. So, I don't know.
Do you feel blessed that you were able to?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I was part. You know, I'm lucky that I, you know, got to coach and compete, you know, against him, and you know, and I feel for so many people. I mean, it's obviously his family. You know, I can't imagine. You know, Lou played with him. Ty Lue played with him. Cliff coached with him. Kawhi was very, very close with him, and so was Paul George. And he meant a lot of good for our league, and especially the competitive part of our league. So, you know, sometimes things don't make sense, you know, and there's times you should feel, you know, you just feel sad, you know, and this is one of them, and you know, you have to get through it. We all will. We all have to be strong, you know. You know, we laughed and joked about the mama mentality, you know. We're all gonna need it right now, you know, and there's nobody, I think everybody right now is a Laker fan, you know. We're all Lakers today. You feel for that community, for Jeannie and everyone else. I think people think because you compete against people sometimes that you don't have a relationship with them and you don't like, and it's probably the exact opposite. I think sometimes the more you compete, the more respect you have for the opponent, you know. I would say that's the way I felt with Kobe, and so that's all. I just don't have a lot to say, you know. Just really sad. Thanks, guys.
There's not a lot.
That is what you are hearing from All-Star
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers. I was going to tell you a little bit about, for people who might not know, he also has so much to talk about. That was NBA TV that you're watching there, but he obviously played with the Atlanta Hawks, LA Clippers, New York Knicks. He was a coach for the Magic, for the Celtics, and also for the Clippers. He was an NBA All-Star in 1988. He had an amazing career, and you hear him just break down talking about the loss of Kobe Bryant. We also want to show you that Shaq is now posted something here on Instagram, and let me show you what he says here. This from Shaq just now. This is actually from Instagram. It says, "There are no words to express the pain I am going through now with the tragic and sad moment of losing my friend, my brother, my partner, and winning championships, my dude and my homie. I love you, brother, and you will be missed. My condolences go out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now." But we want to show you the pictures that he's posting. You know, these through the ages, and they went through a lot together.
It was their city.
They went through so much together.
I remember when they played the Portland Trailblazers, and they were the better team, but the Trailblazers put up a fight. I believe it was an alley-oop that Kobe gave to Shaq, and I wasn't in that building, but boy, did I wish I was, because it just looked like the time of the century, the best time to be a Lakers fan,
right,
of course.
Right.
And they've had so many historic runs, of course, but I remember that alley-oop. It sort of solidified. I think it pushed them into the NBA Finals. But boy, when you talk about two great athletes being paired together, you're definitely looking at a storied NBA career.
Through good times and bad times.
Absolutely.
I want to play something for you guys. Oh, you know what? I don't know that it's on here. I'm going to try to find it because we heard from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? We've been hearing from a lot of different people. So I'm going to find that, and we can continue on here.
Well, what it was, there are several Lakers who are.
Here it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's several Lakers who do have bronze statues outside of the Staples Center. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and of course, the greatest. I believe he's the greatest scorer, the highest scorer in NBA history. Can we listen into what
Kareem
had to say?
Abdul-Jabbar. I'm going to go ahead and play that if you can make sure that audio's up. Let me just read you what it says here. Though most people remember Kobe as the magnificent athlete who inspired a whole generation of basketball players, but I will always remember him as a man who was much more than an athlete. I think you're going to need to take it up full screen.
Put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he
Sorry about that.
As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand now how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So to Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys. Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes. He was one of the first ones to leave high school and come into the NBA and do so well, dominating the game and becoming one of the best scorers that the Los Angeles Lakers has ever seen. I had the privilege of being there when he scored his 81-point game, and it was something that I will always remember as one of the highlights of the things that I have learned and observed in sports. Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss it's just hard to comprehend. Go with God.
It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Do we still have Frank Buckley on the phone with us?
Yep, I'm still here.
Frank, I'm assuming you heard all of that, but when you think about great Lakers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would be up there, and I think he spoke rather eloquently. Just give us your thoughts after hearing what Shaq wrote on Instagram and what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said. In fact, I believe you told me you asked Kobe Bryant what he thought about who Shaq was and how Shaquille O'Neal sort of played into the Lakers. Can you speak to that?
Well, here's the amazing thing. Many people believe that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of course, is the greatest basketball player of all time, not just for the Lakers. But when I asked, first before I tell you what Kobe said, we had Shaq on the morning news a few years ago, and I asked Shaq who is the greatest Laker of all time. And on a team that has featured Kareem, Magic, Jerry West, himself, Shaq. Shaq said Kobe Bryant was the greatest Laker of all time because he could do it all. Shaq said, look, I did big man stuff, but Kobe Bryant could do it all. So, there is just this great respect among the professionals. Kobe rubbed some guys the wrong way, and even some fans who thought, he played like a ball hawk. But amongst the players, there was tremendous respect. And Kobe and Shaq, who Lakers fans will know famously there was tension between the two. Kobe said, yeah, we had tension, but we always respected each other. And after they were no longer teammates, they became pretty close. And so those words from Shaq today, I'm sure, are heartfelt.
Frank, thank you so much for giving us your perspective on all of this. And you're right, to hear Kareem speak the way he did from the heart and his perspective. He is the greatest of all time, and this shows you the respect that he had, the mutual respect. We want to let you see what Shaquille O'Neal's son, Sharif, has to say. He says on Twitter this morning, he says, literally this morning you reached out to me. I love you forever, Unc. I love you. So I guess he would call him his uncle, right? And you could see a text that he has. If you can take the iPad here, it should be on here. He shows the text messages between he and Kobe.
I do want to clarify, we were talking about bronze statues. Kobe does not have one outside of Staples Center yet. That will obviously be coming, but just wanted to clarify that fact real quick.
So this is a text message, text link from Sharif O'Neal, who is Shaq's son, and he says, Kobe, so this is from Kobe, he says, Colin will get it set up, bet. Like, just to know that you're texting with Kobe. And so, this young man is heartbroken today, knowing that somebody very close to him is gone.
Yeah, and we talk about how, Frank was just talking about how Kobe is going to be remembered and the impact that he had on the city. And we're getting examples already of how the city is doing that. Outside of LA Live, they have his picture up, the year he was born, and unfortunately, the year that he died. But we can see LA Metro. If you go to any LA Metro station, at least this is what they put up on Twitter, they put his name up there. So if you go to some of the stops, that's how the city is honoring Kobe Bryant today. We also showed Mayor Garcetti giving some remarks. We are told, I believe, the governor, Gavin Newsom, also put out a statement as well, in addition to the President of the United States. So a lot of people getting the news, a lot of people reacting. And as we hear from people we work with, this is a devastating tragedy that we will surely be talking about the next days and months to come.
It's just about 7 minutes before the top of the hour. We've been told by authorities at the crash site that they will be holding some sort of media availability or a news conference at 2 o'clock. We're eagerly awaiting that to try to get some confirmation, some of the details that we've been trying to get since this happened. We first broke in to our newscast to talk about this with breaking news. I think it was about 10:15, 10:30 that we heard about it and started to talk about it, and it happened right around 10, not knowing that it was Kobe Bryant on board that helicopter, but we did know that there was a crash in the area. We gave a location, Las Virgenes Road. We knew that there was a small brush fire that was sparked by the crash, and we saw a tremendous amount of first responders on scene. And it was shortly thereafter that we found out that it was Kobe Bryant and 4 other people. We do now know that his daughter was also in that crash and died, Gigi. So we will continue to hope that news conference is going to happen. Again, please bear with us, because sometimes those things don't start right at the time they're supposed to, but we are there. We've got crews on the scene, and as soon as they get up to the podium, we'll definitely be hearing what the officials have to say.
Also standing by to get some information involving that helicopter crash. Again, happened close to about 10 o'clock this morning. Aaron Myers is there at the scene for us. Happened just off of Las Virgenes Road, close to about 10 o'clock tonight. 5 people were aboard. It was Kobe's personal helicopter, the Sikorsky. Is it the Sikorsky S-76 chopper that he was known to obviously travel? And Frank talked about it. He said that he used a helicopter to be more efficient. He didn't want to sit in LA traffic, and he did it when he was on the Lakers. He took a helicopter from Orange County. He would land on top of the Ritz-Carlton building, and he would take an elevator down, and he was able to walk into Staples Center to entertain the thousands who showed up and the millions who watched him on television screens all over the world.
Well, when you're Kobe Bryant, you have to be somewhere. You have to get there quickly, and that's what he did. And there's nobody else that would be given, that kind of a green light to make that happen. He did it while he was a player. He's been doing it ever since. It's the way he got around town. He was on his way to the Mambo Academy. That's where he was going with his daughter, we understand. We don't know, again, who the other people were on board, but that's where they were headed, which was just, I believe, in Thousand Oaks, right? So not far from where it went down, but a distance, obviously, from Newport, if that's where he was coming from. On the image on the right of your screen right there is file video from a basketball game when he was there with his daughter. We do believe that that's Gianna, his 13-year-old daughter, his second oldest.
That is right there.
He has 4 daughters. His oldest is Natalia, and then Gigi, Bianca, and his little girl who was born, Capri. She was born in June of last year, so that's his new baby.
We just saw the video on the right side of him famously speaking to his daughter most recently at a Laker game, and it brings a smile to your face. at least to remember that moment, because you see, the greatest basketball player of all time, arguably, passing on information to his young daughter who is also playing basketball, and you can just tell they're on the same page.
Yeah.
He's giving her information that she's going to likely could have used for the rest of her life. This is the moment I'm talking about right there, the right side of your screen, giving her those tips. And I believe that the meme at the time was, she's got that Mamba mentality too.
But having a teenage daughter, a lot of times as a parent, you cannot give your teenager any advice. They don't really want to listen to you, but it's not that way when you're courtside with Kobe Bryant. She's listening to him. They're having a conversation. So they obviously had a strong bond between them. Obviously father-daughter, but player to player. He must have taught her so much. So she is a basketball star in her own right. She was a basketball star in her own right. And to know that she died with her dad, it's just devastating to think about. And I just can't stop thinking about her mother, his wife Vanessa, her sisters. It's got to be just overwhelming.
On the left side of your screen, these are live pictures from outside of Staples Center. That's LA Live, and memorials are growing. You can see fans are gathering. You can see a fan right there. I can't see the back of her jersey, but one could only imagine it says Bryant on the back. You can see a man just in front of her with a Kobe Bryant jersey. We heard from a fan earlier, and he said Kobe was his hero.
Yeah.
He got to see him win championships, and he was brought to tears. And I think Doc Rivers, what he said during that news conference a bit earlier, sums it all up. We are all Lakers today. And I think you're going to see that at any professional sporting event that's happened. We already saw it at the Rose Bowl. We saw it with this afternoon's Raptors-Spurs game, which is still underway. And we're going to see it tonight, I believe, at the Grammys. Sam Rubin and Doug Kolk are doing their best on the red carpet at this hour, but it's going to be the topic of discussion. And it's going to be interesting to see not only how the musicians pay their respects and honor him, but the music industry as a whole. Kobe, I believe Doug was mentioning, had some sort of a album when he was younger. But boy, did he like the entertainment industry. You saw it with the movies that he made. And I think what's so interesting, anytime you see someone who meets Kobe Bryant, I don't think Kobe Bryant is saying, hey, I got to meet the game today. It was the game got to meet Kobe Bryant. He got to meet Kobe Bryant.
I mean, we've been watching, since we went on the air here, this crowd just gathering and growing at Staples Center. And as Sam was saying, that this is not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to all be blocked off because of the Grammys and because of all the musicians and the stars who would be there. But you cannot keep this crowd away from Staples. They are, again, compelled to be together, to mourn together, to grieve together, and to share this experience. And so we're just watching that crowd get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just are gazing up at the billboard up there that was put up so quickly to honor him.
I've been working here a while, and every time a Kobe headline would come out, I would see an email from Darren Horton. Darren, you would always send emails to let us know if there was Kobe news, if there was something involving Kobe Bryant. You were on top of it. You would let us know, and it really is such a tragic story. It's awful.
And we are joined in studio now by Darren Horton.
Yeah, he was the hero of this generation in Los Angeles. He was the face of it. He was the greatness of it. He epitomized our city. He was the guy, and the way he went about his business, the flamboyance, the grit, the competitiveness, the intelligence, the generosity. You're talking about a guy who, when he left the game, became one of the great mentors to a whole new generation of basketball players, these players that are coming up. He would welcome, hey, come work out with me. A lot of the young Lakers, remember when the Lakers were trying to rebuild, they had all these young Lakers, he would welcome them and he would try to show them how he went about the process of getting better. He just is a guy that it's hard to wrap your mind around this. This is devastating for our city in so many ways. He was truly a great man. He was a great father. My last time personally interacting with him was on the day he stepped away from the game, where I had a chance to talk to him. And after he had finished all the press conferences, he kind of walked around Staples Center, and he kind of had these like powwows with reporters, and And we all thanked him. I mean, I'm sitting here as a Cub reporter, and I came here in 1998. I'll never forget, I walked into Southwest College, my first Lakers practice after growing up loving the Lakers in New York City, and here he was. And Shaq and all the other players were kind of wrapping up practice and going to do their one-on-ones with the media. And here's this young guy, he must have been 19, 20 years old, and he is just on the post, and he's working on a turnaround bank shot. He's working on his post moves, his footwork, and he was relentless, you know.
You just can't help but smile when you think about it. We do want to let our viewers know it is 2 o'clock, and we know we told you that there would be a news conference starting at 2 o'clock, but we want to let you know it's going to be about 10 after 2 now. We, of course, will break into it as soon as the officials get to the podium to bring us the very latest.
We have not seen these pictures before. Aerial shot above where the wreckage is, and this is obviously a devastating crash. We had some ground shots earlier from, I believe, Las Virgenes, but I have not seen this yet. But you can still see the smoke that is smoldering right there, and what appears to be pieces of the helicopter broken apart.
Yeah, the debris field is so much bigger than you would imagine for a helicopter crash. It's just it shows you the kind of impact it had. So we are going to get those details, obviously, about what happened. It's going to be widely investigated by the NTSB, and it will be some time before we know exactly what happened, I'm sure, officially. Darren, I have to ask you, when you sat down here, I was thinking, you cover sports, you've covered him, you've covered all these great players, but I know things changed for you when you became a dad.
Yeah.
And I know that the way you interviewed him, dad to dad, was different than it was before you were dad. Can you talk about that as you think about how relationships change?
There was nothing more important to Kobe Bryant than his family, and he was very private, and he was very protective over his family. I had done a couple events where Vanessa was there, where his daughters were there, and it was kind of common knowledge that that was, you don't talk to his family, outside of saying, how you doing, Vanessa? And, at events like that, you could be friendly, but there wasn't going to be like any kind of interview.
Right. Very protective, though.
Well, yeah, because obviously you'd love to be able to talk and get some insight as to, Kobe at home and that kind of thing. But
people didn't cross that line, did they?
You got that on social media. You didn't get it in person. But he was a great father and a great family man, and I'm just blown away by his intelligence, and that's the one thing I don't think people really understood. This guy was brilliant.
Yeah.
We talked about celebrity and you talk about family. If we could look at the iPad, that we just got this social media post from The Rock, and it's a beautiful picture of Kobe and Gigi, his daughter. They're courtside, a black and white picture, and The Rock says, "Love is forever." That's coming out from The Rock, who also
has daughters.
Has daughters. That is something that these celebrities, these fathers share in common. We also have Derek Bell in Sky 5 overhead, the crash site, so he can give us that perspective from Sky 5. Derek.
That's right. We've got LA County Sheriff's deputies on scene right now. They have made their way to the crash site, and along with the LA County Fire Department, we're seeing them on the scene as well. You just commented about the size of the debris field. It is large. It appears to be 30 to 40 yards long, so it appeared that the helicopter impacted on the right, and most of the helicopter came to rest there. Right there, you can see a portion of the engine one of the engines still smoldering. There's pieces of the tail rotor that kind of continued on, and they came to a stop over there. So the deputies are on this footpath about a mile east, making a mile east of Las Virgenes Road, and we're just south of the 101 freeway up on the hills here. No vehicles from the LA County, either fire or deputies, have made it up here. It is just a footpath, so they've hiked in approximately a mile. They're looking around and looking at some of the other items on the in the debris field here. Of course, they're doing the grim work of covering the bodies of the people that perished in the crash here, taking a look around. So it's going to be an ongoing investigation, of course, and from our perspective, it appeared that the helicopter hit very, very hard. That's why we have that debris field that is as long as it did, and it absolutely shattered upon impact. Clearly, nobody could have possibly survived this, and clearly their demise was rather quick, immediate, I should say. So again, the deputies there and fire department on scene right now, taking a look. We haven't seen anybody from the NTSB or FAA yet, but clearly they are on their way as well.
Derek,
Back to you in the studio.
Derek, we know that on the morning news this morning, we had talked about fog. It was very foggy yesterday as well. It didn't clear out for quite some time. Do you have any idea what the weather conditions were at that time?
We have overcast here, excuse me, and limited visibility, and we understand it was foggier and the visibility was even lower than it is right now. So that could have been a factor. We just don't know quite yet. The helicopter, if it was flying along and in good condition, and weather was a factor, he was flying below the tops of the hills out here. Whether you had a mechanical issue is unknown at this time. We're just going to have to wait till the FAA and the NTSB complete their investigation.
All right, Derek Bell live for us in Sky 5 HD. We'll keep these images up. We're joined right now by Rick Chambers and Glenn Walker. Glenn, you're someone who lives not far from where the site happened. Can you talk about what the weather was like there this morning?
It was foggy, very foggy. I was a little surprised to hear that there was actually a helicopter flying.
Me too.
It's the kind of conditions that usually aircraft like that would be grounded. So I'm a little surprised. I was actually at a friend of mine's house in Palos Verdes last night that lives up high enough where you were actually looking down at the marine layer, almost like you were flying. And I'm sure it was that way overnight. And it's just a little surprising. Apparently they were flying from his home down on the Newport Beach coast and flying up to, I think, Thousand Oaks to his basketball academy. That's what I was hearing. You may have heard more
that's
than
what
me.
we've been reporting.
So it's a little surprising that they would fly in those conditions.
And he was no stranger to a helicopter at all.
Oh, he used it all the time. Right.
He used
it all the time.
He would literally fly to home games.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because he was with the money he made from the Lakers and endorsements, I mean, he was wealthy enough where he could literally fly a helicopter back and forth between Orange County and, the Staples Center.
And I know you still have to, give your flight plan. You need to make sure that people know that you're in the air. Like, you just don't take off in your helicopter. So they must have had to get some sort of clearance, I believe. I mean, it'd be interesting for us to hear from other pilots. What are the boundaries that these private helicopters have in terms of when they can fly and what the conditions they can fly in.
Yeah, he used that Sikorsky, though, like one of us would use an SUV or a minivan or something, just moving around town with the kids and doing whatever he had to do. And probably this morning when they got up and the fog was there, it may not have been given a second thought, maybe other than the pilot. Everybody else, this was just the way they traveled. Yeah. Let's get in and let's go to practice, and then suddenly it ends up this way.
Rick, your perspective now that you're joining us here, when you first heard, you've covered.
Well, when I first heard, I mean, I was shocked right along with everybody else. At first, I thought I had heard that he died in a crash. I thought it was a car crash at first, and was unaware that it was the helicopter that we were looking at on the news. When I came to LA back in '92, Gretzky was the big star, and everybody, and I'm a big hockey guy, and so everybody was focused on that, and not until the late '90s when a young kid shows up in a Laker uniform, 18 years old, and then he's got Shaq right behind him coming in the same year. Suddenly the focus, I'm sure, of all Laker fans, but even mine, and not being a huge NBA or basketball fan, I had so much fun watching the two of them play for so much. And then to find out that he's this family man. And, all of us up here on the set, I think, for the most part, have kids. And to think of losing a 13-year-old daughter just kills me.
Well, the fact that his wife is now one of the survivors, along with the baby they just had as well.
The other babies, yeah.
They have Natalia, who's the oldest. I believe she's 17, Bianca, and their baby girl, Capri, who was born in June of last year.
Yeah, thoughts, prayers got to go out to the rest of the Bryant family. They're going to have a huge struggle on their hands, and trying to come to grips with this is going to take years.
I mean, you just look at these pictures that you're seeing on the right hand of your screen, and we've seen this family grow together. We've seen him grow up. The closeness, the bond, you can just, it's so apparent. It's so apparent.
Well, as Darren was mentioning before, I mean, it was all about the family. Basketball was the way he generated income, but all of his thoughts were on his wife and kids. Well, just a prime example of what he was doing today. I mean, they were flying up to his mom's basketball academy, for his daughter, to improve her game, and he was really
really into coaching her big time. So.
Well, you could tell when they're sitting on the sidelines and he's instructing her about what's going on in front of her, and she's acknowledging, yes, that's the way I'm seeing it, that's the way I understand it. They had such an amazing chemistry between them, and we're talking about Gigi at this point because we've seen her a number of times on the sidelines. That picture right there, another one, I mean, you could just tell just how much he cared about where these kids were headed.
And for all of us who've had teenagers, I have
Yeah.
one, they don't always listen to you. They don't, really want to know what you have to say, but she did. We just want to let you guys know that we understand that this news conference at the crash site is supposed to start in the next maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes. Yeah. So as soon as the officials get up to the podium, we of course will break away and bring you that live. But as we continue to look at this debris field and the crash site, we saw the smoke, and it smoldered for so long. I was surprised for the amount of firefighters that were on scene and first responders. I was really shocked that it was still smoldering hours later. And now when we're seeing the crash, it's still smoldering.
Still smoldering. Yeah.
It's 2 o'clock, 2:11, and it's happened just before 10 a.m. this morning, and it's still smoldering.
We've been asking a lot of folks to talk about their favorite moment, so to say. What was the most memorable moment? Somebody talking about the parades that they had. Is there a moment that you guys can think about? Was there a shot that he made, an assist that he had that sort of sticks with you more than others?
You asked me that on the phone, and I just said I remember the 2 championships that he won without Shaq, but I remember the first one the most because I still remember him jumping on the scores table, and I was standing by an exit across the court, and so his back was to me, but to look down at him standing on the table with his arms raised, soaking in the adulation and all of the confetti coming down, it was quite a moment. I mean, that's a man right now that is on top of the world.
Yeah. And he was about how old?
Well, that was his
early 20s.
Early 20s. That was his 4th NBA title. This was the first one without Shaq.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Still a young man.
Yeah, the first 3 titles I was actually working in New York. Of course, 2 of those titles they beat the New Jersey Nets. So, we were all over that from the watching that from the other side. And those were 2 good Nets teams, and the Nets had been awful forever.
Jason Kidd was on that team, I think. Right?
Yeah, I mean the Lakers, they just destroyed the Nets. 2 years in a row they beat them, and ironically Byron Scott was the coach.
Yeah, I think the parades, the celebrations after and some of the crazy pictures that he and Shaq took together, just acting like, young NBA stars would. These 2 young guys that are going to go into the Hall of Fame, making a ton of money, just doing what they want to do, and here they are bringing in championship trophies to the club, and the hats are on sideways. They're kissing the trophy, celebrating.
Champagne is going everywhere.
All of those types of things. I mean, whenever you saw him after a game like that, his face, he was just lit up. He was so proud to be part of it.
And thank goodness, there was a rift there between them. And thank goodness that was resolved, because you can imagine, the regrets that Shaq would have today if that had not taken place.
Yeah. We want to show you the right of your screen there. You see that this is where this news conference is going to be held, and all the reporters are there. We've got cameras there. We've got a microphone at the podium. They are expected to come out at any moment. We don't know exactly who is going to be speaking officially, but they will be introduced, and we'll be taking that live. I'm not even sure exactly where the location is. I thought it was going to be closer to the crash site. Is that the Sheriff's Department? Yeah. It might be the Sheriff's Department.
Which is really right.
Not too far from the scene.
Kind of around the corner
right.
from where the crash.
For people who might not be familiar of where this happened, it's right across the street from Church of the Canyon, and that is where the plane went down. It happened just shortly after 10 o'clock this morning, and we know that the cross streets, I believe, were Las Virgenes Road, and it's right by a school, so it's where a lot of people gather, and there were so many people who went immediately to the scene. It was Wright Middle School is where it was. So I'm interested to see how they're continuing the investigation. I'm not sure if they're looking for debris, what they're looking for, or obviously they're going to have to clear this crash site and recover the bodies.
For a long time.
It's going to be a terrible time. Yeah. So to give you an update, it's now 2:15, and we kind of thought this might happen. The press conference is now scheduled for 2:30, and it was supposed to be at 2 o'clock, but we are there, we're standing by, and we will bring it to you live.
Just looking online, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying that he'll always remember Kobe as a man who was much more than just an athlete. And Darren, I think you were mentioning that before, that this was a guy that once he left the game, his sights were set on other things and he was just moving ahead, but everything surrounded the family.
Like winning Oscars.
Well, exactly.
Right. You go win an Oscar.
And that project that that he won the Oscar for, that short, Dear Basketball, was so well done. And what a tribute to the passion that he had for the game of basketball and all that he had given. He had given his life, all of his time, sacrificed so much time away from his family with the training. Remember, towards the tail end of his career, he had significant injuries that required a lot of rehab. And that was very time consuming. And Vanessa has gone on record as saying, hey, you know, our husband, our daddy is away. It takes a great deal of sacrifice to play this game. And then when it came time for him to set his sights on life after basketball, he then began venturing out, and we knew he had interest in film, and obviously won the Oscar. And you talked about his interest in music, where early on in his career he put out an album. You know, this is
an author.
Yeah, he's written. He's, you know, he and everything he did, especially at the tail end of the career. Remember, he would go into Boston to play the Celtics, and he would take the day before and go to Harvard and sit in on classes because he just had an insatiable desire for excellence and learning, and he wanted to find out about things that he didn't know about, and he's just
spoke several languages.
Yeah,
fluent in Italian.
He grew up in Europe
Fluent in
too.
Italian because he grew up part of his childhood in Italy. His dad was playing there.
Yeah, some people felt like he could have been a soccer player. He had that kind of athletic ability, and he loved that game as well. Went to the World Cup several times, so it's you know, the whole city is just heartbroken.
Yeah, I think when he got nominated for the Oscar, I think a lot of people kind of stepped back and said, oh, come on, you know, this is Kobe Bryant. What's he doing trying to venture into this?
Yeah.
And then suddenly when they saw the product and then he wins the award, suddenly you have that admiration that just kind of kicks into another gear. And now here's a guy who not only was one of the best of all time in basketball, now suddenly his first step into another field, and he wins a top prize.
Right, right. I want to show you guys, we were talking about that we don't know exactly where the plane was going. We have been told it was the Mamba Sports Academy. I want to show you here on the iPad that there was a game. Kobe and Gigi were going to a 2 p.m. game at the Mamba Sports Academy, team against Fresno, and Kobe was going to go coach the game. So the Fresno Lady Heat and the Mamba. So that is where they were going.
You know, you hear that word, Mamba, and it stands for Kobe Bryant and his drive, his competitiveness, this vicious
Killer
competitive.
instinct.
He just wants to put you away, and the Mamba mentality and all of that he developed. And when people hear that, they know exactly. You know, sometimes I'll look at games today and I'm like, that guy doesn't have the Mamba mentality. You know?
I mean, you can say it outside of basketball. You know, do you live your life with the Mamba mentality? You know, it applies to so many things, and he showed us that.
Yeah.
Can we also look from Blake Griffin? Again, so many people going to social media. This is from Blake Griffin saying, very few people actually transcend the word iconic, and you are one of them. You will be missed. Number 8, number 24. That's a great picture. And there's one more I want to show you here. That's from Mark Cuban. No words, just broken hearts.
Owner of the Dallas Mavericks right there. Darren, can you talk about Laker Nation, what they're likely going through right now? I guess we're all, Doc Rivers said it today, we are all Lakers today.
He was the guy. I mean, you know, he was so loyal, he was so passionate, his work ethic, and everybody, you know, we hear about the beef that he had with Shaq, and it was simply because Kobe was such a hard worker, and he did everything in his power to win. And Shaq was just a natural athlete, and he wasn't, you know, I'm not saying he didn't work hard, but he certainly wasn't working like Kobe. And, you know, he wouldn't get the surgeries in the off season and all that stuff, and that kind of irritated and got under Kobe's skin. And so when you think about, you know, the fact that he spent 20 years here in Los Angeles, he was here from 17 years old until he retired, you know, the longevity that he had and the way that he won. Unlike any other player, he was a one-man basketball force when he got on that court. Offensively, whatever it took, defensively, he was on all defense teams. He was a guy that, scored, in excess of 80 points in one game. I'll never forget the finale of his career. They were taking on the Utah Jazz, and he had that 60-point performance. Talk about a guy who's repaired Achilles, all the injuries, the broken fingers, all the things he had over the years, his body breaking down, and he gave us one last thing to remember him by. And he won a dramatic game. He hit big shots down the stretch to pull it out. And, we said at the time, I think that team had won 17 games that year. And we said, hey, forget the team. This guy is a champion. And he left the game at the top. He will forever be remembered as the Mamba, 5-time champion. That's what he was about. He wasn't about, all the other stuff that a lot of players that come into the game today, they're about branding and about social media. He wasn't about all that. He was about winning championships.
Was he an NBA All-Star most of that time? 18 years?
18-time NBA All-Star out of his 20 years.
That talks about his work ethic.
That night you were talking about, I remember it's like, oh, this is nice. He's gonna score like 35 points. He's gonna have a good night. Right. It's a good way to go out. And God, he may score 40. He may score 50. Yeah. Oh my God, he scored 60 points.
Yeah. Can I show you? There's a statement now from the Clippers from Steve Ballmer that we have on our iPad. It says, "The Clippers mourn the sudden and devastating loss of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. Kobe, an icon and an institution in this city and this sport, inspired teammates and opponents alike with his commitment, determination, and drive. Kobe was a singular figure who left an indelible mark on the community and the world. His family, friends, fans, Lakers organization are in our thoughts and prayers. We will miss him." Let me see if I can get that to connect. But you hear the words. So you might look again. But again, this is from Steve Ballmer, who is LA Clippers chairman. So many people wanting to reach out and make a statement. And that's what we're seeing.
And we heard from Doc Rivers earlier as well, and he was holding back tears, just talking about the interaction that he had with Kobe over the years and the talks they used to have when they'd run into each other. And I think a lot of people, the big fans this morning, shed a lot of tears. There were a lot of people that just couldn't believe what they were hearing when they turned on the news this morning.
Well,
from the LA Chargers.
Listen to this. The Clippers are actually playing a game against Toronto, in Toronto, and it said both the Raptors, this is actually the Spurs.
Yeah.
Raptors and the Spurs ran out the 24-second shot clock on their first possession of the game in honor of Kobe Bryant.
Number 24.
Wow.
What a tribute.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of that happening. We have the Grammys this evening. You've got a lot of the games coming up. I think there's going to be a lot of people stopping, spending a moment just reflecting on the way he affected their lives, the sport, just LA in general.
Everything he did was with excellence.
Yeah.
You got to remember, when he became one of the Nike branded athletes, he developed the most popular sneaker that was worn by NBA players. And every year people were looking forward to what kind of sneaker it is. So he was at the top of that industry. Whatever he got involved with, it was the best. It was to do it at the top.
You can speak about, he had good comedic timing too. Remember that famous Nike commercial with him, and I think it was Kanye West? And he said something along the lines of, he gave some advice and he said, "You're welcome." No one asked him, no one said thank you, but it was the funniest commercial. I can't remember when it ran, but as you said, I'm sure he did that like he played basketball. He wanted to get his lines down, he wanted it to be perfect, and boy was it.
It really was. He was a remarkable person. He really was, and he will be missed. There will never be another one like him. He has inspired a whole generation of young basketball players. I'm fascinated to see how the NBA and other players around the league are going to pay tribute. But I wouldn't be surprised if his number got retired around the league. He was that kind of guy. He's Highly regarded.
Which one?
Let's go live now, too, actually.
Take a pick.
We're waiting for that news conference. It's going to start in the next, we hope, 4 or 5 minutes. But we have Corrine Winter, who is live at the scene, and we're going to go to her right now. Corrine.
Lynette, I can tell you emotions running so high out here. This is where a lot of fans have been coming, fans like Omar and Patty, who we'll talk to in just a second. But there are hundreds of people stretched for blocks all along here. And for many, like Omar, the reality of these deaths still hasn't really sunk in it. It's been such a difficult day for you.
It's a tragic day. It's very, very sad. I had to come here and see it for myself because I just couldn't believe it. This is such it's a big loss for the community. The NBA, the world. He's known all over the world for everything that he's done, and it's a huge loss. And I feel so bad for his family, his wife, his mom, his dad. It's very sad.
You live not far from here. You live in the valley, but you said you had to drive out for it to sink in. And we're not going to pan in too close up behind me. This is where that helicopter crashed, and in the distance you can see the wreckage. It's still smoldering. Investigators on the scene, and you said only when you came out here did you start to really believe that 5 lives perished behind you.
It took me driving over here to believe that it really happened, and still I'm in disbelief looking over my shoulder to think that was where it happened. There's nothing there. There's nothing left. You can't even see the wreckage. There's just a little bit of smoke, and I still can't believe it.
Laker legend, but did so much more than that in his life. And after retiring, Kobe was always a family guy, but a family man with his daughter, taking her to a game. We actually spoke to some players earlier who they were going to face her today in that game. It wasn't a practice. They said it was an actual game, and they were so shocked the words could barely come out. What does this loss mean for you?
I don't know exactly how to explain what it means, but it's very tragic that his daughter was his buddy, his best friend. They were at games together. He coached her. He was showing her the mama mentality way, and you can see their relationship when you saw them at games together and in photos that they posted on Instagram. It's for them to go together. God, it's unbelievable.
And Patty, sweetheart, 10 years old. You wanted to speak to me today about what Kobe meant to you. Describe what you're feeling right now.
It's just, I can't even think of how they can play, and he was just a really good person, and he was a really good player, not only to play, he also really loved his family and helped his family, and he just cared for everyone.
Favorite Kobe moment watching him play?
Well, it's just all of them. I love all of his games, his winning shots. It's amazing of what he can do, and this happening to him, it's really devastating.
He leaves behind a family now mourning, daughter probably the same age as you, several daughters. What would you say to his family if they're listening now?
I'm just very sorry for your loss, and it's really hard for it to be this way, and he left his family all alone, but it's gonna be hard to let it just go.
And I can hear your voice shaking. Kobe's love, Kobe's impact on the entire community, the world, it transcended generations. Here you have a 10-year-old, and Omar, I don't think you mind me saying your age, a 39-year-old, and they're shaken up. You have just waves and waves of fans out here. They said he's gone, but this was their way of being close to him during this time, trying to make sense of something that is so heartbreaking. They're looking for more answers as to how something like this could have happened. I know we're awaiting that press conference, but they said that they're not leaving here You've been here since the moment you heard the news. And again, a lot of people paying tribute, and a lot of people also downtown the Staples Center trying to feel a piece of Kobe, trying to hold on to those memories, trying to make sense of what has happened here.
I think all of Los Angeles is mourning right now. And anybody who is out of their house right now is probably wearing their favorite Laker memorabilia, Kobe Bryant jersey. But this impacts all of Los Angeles, so I'm sure that everybody's very sad about what's going on right now.
We see a lot of Laker jerseys out here too. What have the fans been saying to you, the strangers, the people that you've been meeting in this crowd?
Everybody's just sharing memories of their favorite games and Kobe's character, and just basically in disbelief that this has happened.
Thank you so much, both. I know that you're going to be here for quite some time, and you're hoping to learn more about this as the investigation continues. But again, we'll just pan to the right just to give you a snapshot. And this is really, Lynette, Mark, just a snapshot all the way down this road driving in. It's just legions and legions of fans. A lot of people we saw to the side holding each other, parents holding their children, trying to make sense of what has happened here. And we suspect that there will be more people arriving here, and we'll try to catch up with them, get their thoughts, their perspective on this whole tragedy, what has happened, as so many people try to grapple with it on this very, very sad day. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Karine, we're seeing that that crowd continue to grow there at the crash site, and we're seeing the same kind of crowd gathering at Staples Center. Yeah. We talk all the time after these terrible tragedies. People are compelled to gather together, and they're doing whatever they can to do that. They share their thoughts, their grief, and comfort each other, but we see people really compelled to go somewhere public. Just looking at this video, I think this is probably the closest video we've seen. This is from Sky 5 over the crash site. You can see that debris field. We heard how fast they must have been, the impact must have been.
Yeah. There's still 3 other people we're working to identify.
Yeah. Let's go live now. We're going to hear from this news conference. Sheriff Alex Villanueva is expected to speak, and also the LA County Fire Chief, Daryl Osby, will be taking the podium. And so we're ready for that. They will likely introduce other people. We see these news conferences that will happen, and they're going to tell us about the investigation and tell us about exactly what happened, hopefully to talk about what the weather conditions were. There's so many questions, but certainly the biggest question of all is confirmation of the 5 people who were on board. We do know that it was Kobe Bryant's personal helicopter that he was known to fly in. He would fly from Newport Beach to Staples Center when he was a player. He uses the helicopter to get wherever he is going, and he was going to Thousand Oaks to the Mamba Academy for a basketball game with his daughter. And we do also know that it was a Sikorsky S-76 chopper, a Sikorsky S-76 chopper. And when you look at that debris field, you can see, what happened here.
Yeah. Former President Obama tweeting this morning that Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started in what would have been a meaningful second act. And to lose Gianna, even more heartbreaking to us as parents, he said, Michelle and I send love and prayers to Vanessa and the entire Bryant family on this unthinkable day.
All right, let's listen to Elizabeth Espinosa.
In the order of speakers that we will have today will be LA County Fire Chief Daryl Osby, and then we will have LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva come to the podium. Thank you.
Let's go live with Chief Daryl Osby of the County Fire Department. Good afternoon. My name is Daryl Osby, and I'm the Fire Chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. I want to thank you for coming here to today's briefing of the Willow incident. Today, shortly before 10 o'clock at 9:47 a.m., the Los Angeles County Fire Department received a 911 call of a potential helicopter down in a brush fire at the intersection of Las Virgenes Road and Willow Glen Street in the city of Calabasas in unincorporated Los Angeles County. Upon arrival, our firefighters discovered approximately a quarter-acre brush fire that resulted from a crash on the hillside. The Los Angeles County Fire Department initial response was 15 pieces of apparatus and 56 personnel that consisted of paramedics, engine company, heavy rescue, truck company, hand crews, and aircraft, and a chief officer to oversee the incident. Upon arrival, during the incident, and upon arrival of the Sheriff's Department, our two respective departments entered into unified command to handle this incident. Our firefighters on scene indicated that there was a debris field and steep terrain with a quarter-acre brush fire that was occurring at the time. Our firefighters hiked in to the accident site with their medical equipment and hose lines to extinguish the stubborn fire, as it included the brush fire, debris from a helicopter, and the fire also included magnesium, which is very hard for our firefighters to extinguish because magnesium reacts with oxygen and water. In addition to our firefighters hiking into the incident, we had one helicopter flying to the incident with firefighter paramedics on board. Those paramedics were hoisted down to the incident early into the incident. They did a search of the area for survivors. Unfortunately, all the survivors on board were determined to have been perished. Firefighters and hand crews worked to extinguish the fire while carefully preserving the incident for investigation. Currently, the investigation is still ongoing. I would like to turn this over to my sheriff to continue the press briefing.
Thank you, Chief Osby. Personnel from Los Hills Sheriff's Station responded to the scene of the crash site and assisted the fire department, and we've established a containment area, and now our Aero Bureau has a handle on traffic or aircraft accidents. However, when there's a fatality, then it switches to the National Transportation Safety Bureau, the NTSB, and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. The FAA is already on scene and assisting. We're waiting the arrival of the coroner's office to assist in the recovery of the remains. As the chief indicated, there were no survivors. We have a manifest that indicates that there was 9 people on board the aircraft, the pilot plus 8 individuals. There is wide speculation as to who the identities are. However, it is entirely inappropriate right now to identify anyone by name until the coroner has made the identification through their very deliberative process, and they've made notifications to next of kin. And it'd be extremely disrespectful to understand that your loved one was perished and you learn about it from TMZ. That is just wholly inappropriate, so we're not going to be going there. We're going to wait till the coroner does their job, and we're assisting the families of those who believe they've been impacted, and it's a tough process. And our hope goes out to all of the members that were on board, all the family of everyone who was on board this aircraft, and God bless their souls. So at this point in time, we have nothing that we can add until the coroner does their job, and we'll be making those notifications when we have the information and we know the next of kin have been notified. Then we can release the information publicly, and you'll be notified in subsequent announcements.
Sheriff, there is one thing you can confirm. Do we have a confirmation actually of 9 bodies there at the scene?
That is our belief, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we realize at this point there are so many questions. There's a lot of information out there, and again, we understand. There's a lot of information that's floating, but we certainly have a responsibility and an obligation, out of respect, of course, for the families. And this is a very difficult time for us all, for the city. We have the mayor here of Calabasas, also City Council. We thank them for being here, and in fact, they wanted to pass on a message that for those in the community that want to gather here and are coming to Calabasas, if you do, you are welcome to join others at the Dianza Park here in Calabasas, and the cross streets there are Los Hills and Las Virgenes. Also, the Sheriff's Information Bureau will be sending out updates as to when there will be, if there is one, a press advisory out, a notification of another press conference or any other updates through our Twitter. So please look for that. And again, we thank you so much for being here today. And again, thank you for your time.
Elizabeth,
Sheriff, please.
Sheriff,
we have more.
Sheriff, just a question quickly on sealing off the area.
What you've been listening to is the Sheriff of LA County, Mr. Villanueva, talking about the crash this morning of a Sikorsky helicopter in Calabasas containing the 9 people now, which I think was a bit of a surprise. I'm Rick Chambers, along with Courtney Friel, Glenn Walker. We're out here covering our continued coverage of the crash that killed Kobe this morning, and I think it was a bit of a shock to everybody at that news conference that there were, at first we thought it was just 5 or 6, now we're up to 9, the pilot and 8 others. And we've heard that Kobe, of course, was on that helicopter. We're also hearing that his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, was on there as well. They were going to a 2 o'clock game at the Mamba complex over there in Thousand Oaks. And there was heavy fog this morning. We don't know if that's directly what caused this crash, but certainly the conditions were not as good as you would like.
The NTSB is now on scene, and we are awaiting the coroner to arrive as well. Kind of limited information, though, on what the 2 officials were giving us, and unfortunately they didn't want to answer any questions, but they're obviously sensitive to the family members who have possibly not yet been notified that their loved ones died. And he even mentioned TMZ, and that's what I wondered too. I hope that Kobe's wife Vanessa and other family members didn't find out the news that way as well. And when I got a text from someone with a screen grab of the news today and people asking, is this true, is this true, I immediately went to TMZ and the site was crashed. So I thought that this was a hoax, because it looked like the site had maybe been hacked and that had been released. Oh, you know what? I think Osby is coming back for questions now.
We got a call before 10 o'clock, about 9:47, that it came in as a helicopter down and a small brush fire. Our firefighters arrived on scene to a small brush fire, and there was a aircraft down. The ground firefighters had to hike into the incident. The firefighter paramedics were in the helicopter, hoisted down to do an investigation of the crash scene, and there are no survivors.
What were the
What
were the weather conditions?
That I don't know.
Who made the call?
There are no survivors.
Do we know when the autopsy was
There's no survivors. It's under investigation, and that's all that we can say.
Do we know when, because the identity of the 9 people on board outside of Kobe have not been revealed, will we know when the autopsy results will be revealed so that we can know the
The coroner can speak to that upon the review of the autopsy.
Do we know who made the call? Do you know who made the call that the helicopter was down?
That I don't know.
Who called 911?
That I don't know.
Can you tell who was piloting the helicopter?
I don't know.
Mr. Bryant had a helicopter in place.
I don't know, and we've really concluded. I just wanted to reiterate what I said because they said it wasn't clear. I'm not going to speak to anything else that the sheriff couldn't answer because it's under investigation.
Why was it so difficult to put out the fire? You talked briefly about a component. Why was that difficult? Is that typical?
I talked earlier about the helicopter that had magnesium on the helicopter, and magnesium reacts to water and oxygen when it's burning, so it took an additional amount of time for our firefighters to extinguish the fire.
What time did they recover the body?
What time
from the beginning of the fire to you put it out? How long did it take?
The 911 call came in at 9:47. It took approximately 8 minutes for us to arrive on scene, and then approximately another hour for everything to be extinguished.
What time did they get to the helicopter itself?
8 minutes later.
I'm just repeating myself, is that the fact of the matter is that our paramedics did a search and there were no survivors.
Chief, I know you can't get too much into specifics on this, but a question. How wide is the debris field in the area that we're talking about the investigators are going to have to look at, and how are they going to be able to seal off that area to make sure nobody gets in?
The brush fire is 1/4 acre, and that's about the size of the debris field, from my understanding. I can't speak to that. I know the sheriff spoken and hopefully you can understand the sensitivity of the next of kin being notified, and we need to make appropriate notifications upon the identification of the passengers, and that's going to take time. And I know that the coroner has people on scene. Even the coroner himself is en route. That they need to do an investigation. They need to look at the manifest, and they need to confirm the DNA and whatever process the coroner does to confirm the bodies before making an official announcement, and that's up to him.
Can you say where the helicopter's heading from?
9 people on board. Is it possible there were more people than were supposed to be on board that aircraft, on that helicopter?
That's still under investigation.
Can you tell us where the helicopter is going from and to approximately?
I do not have that information.
Was everyone confirmed dead when you arrived on scene?
I'm being repetitive again, but I'm going to repeat it again, is that unfortunately, when the firefighter paramedics did a search of the area and identified, there were no survivors.
You said it took 8 minutes to arrive on scene. How long did it?
That's undeterminable at this time.
You said it took 8 minutes to get to the scene. How long did it take you to get into the helicopter or to the helicopter itself?
I don't have that information. Magnesium, there's fuel on the helicopter. Magnesium is part of the components that the helicopter is constructed with.
Can you tell us who owned the helicopter?
That I don't know. That's under investigation, and that will be released. That's under investigation. And that will be released at another time. So that's okay. That I don't know. That's under investigation. So I've said enough. Good.
Hey guys, real quick, I'm Sergeant Grubb from Sheriff's Information Bureau.
You've been listening to Fire Chief Osby there taking questions from reporters out in the Calabasas area, talking about how at 9:47 the fire department got the call about this fire in Calabasas. When they arrived on the scene, they found the helicopter along with a quarter-acre brush fire, very steep terrain. They couldn't drive up to the area, so firefighters had to hike in, and that's when they began searching for survivors. We're hearing now that there were 9 people, that's a new number, 9 people on that helicopter when it went down, the pilot and 8 others. We know at this point that 41-year-old Kobe Bryant was on there along with his 13-year-old daughter Gigi. They were heading to the valley here to Thousand Oaks area, I guess, for them, where the Mamba complex is. They were going to have a basketball game. He was going to coach the team in today's game, and obviously things took a turn.
And somebody asking me, that's a lot of people on a helicopter, but I looked it up and it looks like the helicopter is big enough to handle that many passengers.
Yeah, the Sikorsky is a large helicopter.
And I just want to point out, a lot of rumors have been swirling around about who was on board. I mean, at one point there was talk that all 4 of Kobe's daughters were on board, but also there was a rumor floating around that Rick Fox was on the helicopter as well. And I know Rick, and he is fine, and he is getting bombarded with texts.
Sure.
And just wants everybody to know that obviously he's devastated, but he is okay. And this whole thing is just tragic. We now want to go to Corrine Winter, who is on the ground for us with the latest, what's happening there. Corrine.
And we have a couple special people here, a couple special fans. You guys have been out here for hours. Gentlemen, let's just start with your name, please.
Jay Bogan.
Byron Lopez.
You said what makes this even more tragic. We were listening to the news conference that just wrapped up. Initially, reports of 5. Now we know it was much higher. How do you process all of this?
It's just very tragic. It's just no words to describe the type of sentiment, that the pain that we feel as Laker fans, and ultimately Kobe. It's just, there's no words.
And this hit you especially because you worked security at Staples Center. You saw Kobe often. You've exchanged words. You said it wasn't part of company policy to speak to the athletes, but that Kobe just always went out of his way to make everyone feel so special. You even just showed me video of, what was that, the last game?
Yeah, it was the last game. I was fortunate enough to work security at Staples Center, and then he was there. I was there for work. He was there for work. So I knew he was in that Mamba mentality. But he never made it a bad thing to say hi to him. You always, just greet him, and then it was just say hi, and then we'll just go about our business. I knew, he had things business to take care of. But Kobe was just an amazing athlete and amazing personality for the city of LA. And to be honest, as a person that I met him at work, he seemed like a real down-to-earth person as well.
Such a family man.
Definitely, yeah. And I hear his daughter was there as well, and I think that's the hardest part as well, because she she was growing up as, let me just checking Kobe's
You would see the family.
Instagram.
The family would be
Yeah,
at the
just
games.
checking Kobe's Instagram. You just see that his daughter was doing so well in basketball, and we thought that we were going to have a Mamba in the WNBA, so it was very exciting to see that develop. Yeah.
A lot of people have been coming out, such as yourself, for comfort. You can't find the words. It's hard to wrap your head around what's happened. But coming out, seeing the sea of fans, a lot of people wearing Laker jerseys, does this help with the pain?
Absolutely. We have to mourn his passing. I mean, this guy was bigger than life. He helped a lot of children all over the world, Asia, all over Asia, Japan, the Philippines, his Asia tour. And what destroys me is that he had his first baby girl with him, and now she's gone. So sorry.
Well,
destroyed. I'm sorry.
And this is what so many fans out here are experiencing. It's not just this gentleman. It's been hard for the media to hold this together. We love Kobe. We all did. The world did. And to know how this all happened with his daughter also on that helicopter, the other lives that perished as well. It's really so difficult even for us to put into words and being out here, but it does help talking to the fans and hearing their memories and knowing that he will live on, that his impact on this community, the world. You have international media here, media from Asia and Australia, to know that he is not someone who will be forgotten perhaps ever.
Absolutely not. I mean, all the kids around the world, it'll live on for generations to come.
And you nailed it. When this news broke, my son, 12-year-old, ran into the room and said, "Mommy, did you hear about Kobe?" Yeah. And he had tears in his eyes. It just transcended generations.
Yeah.
We spoke to a 10-year-old girl earlier. She got choked up. So many people are missing Kobe today.
Yeah, definitely. I was 10 years old when I started watching basketball, and the reason why I started watching was because of Kobe. Just hearing of an 18-year-old coming up, and just watching him do just amazing things. It was just something to watch. It was amazing. Yeah.
As you look back at those hillsides and realize the work that they have right now, investigators to piece this together. We're hearing reports that this could have been because of the fog, unconfirmed if maybe mechanical. What are your questions at this time on how something like this could have happened?
Maybe he was piloting the plane, learning how to fly, and he's probably told his daughter, "Come on, let's go. We're going to go up. I'm going to be piloting the plane," and they may have gotten into some kind of trouble. So, I'm going to miss him, and his daughter too. That's another reason. I broke down. I couldn't handle it, but God bless him and his family right now.
Before we let you both go, your favorite Kobe memory?
His first championship in 2000, when they said he couldn't do it. He was uncoachable. Some people, I won't name any names, but they said he was uncoachable. But God blessed him with 5 championships.
And his former teammates have been tweeting Shaq. A lot of people still in disbelief.
Yeah, God bless Shaq too. So I hope that everybody comes and pay their respect at the Laker-Clipper game this Tuesday. I want to see everybody out there.
Thank you so much. And you have probably so many, your favorite Laker memory.
Yeah, just growing up watching the Lakers on TV, it was just, there's so many memories. But personally, just seeing him walking down the aisles at
and you said
Staples
he was so
Center.
larger than life.
Oh, I'm a short guy, so and Kobe's just 6'4", I believe he was. But man, just seeing him walking down the the aisles in Staples Center and just him greeting me, it wasn't much, but to me, growing up, seeing him on TV. And then just seeing him in person, that's what I remember the most, and just being such a great guy with with not just me, but also with the rest of the staff at work. Yeah.
Hold on to that video. That's precious.
Yeah.
2016.
2016, yes.
Very
yes.
last game.
Yeah, so once he retired, I decided to retire as well.
Thank you so much for your time. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, we do have someone else. We have so many fans. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You are live on KTLA, and you just arrived here from where?
Venice Beach.
It was important for you to fight all that traffic, to come out here. Tell me how you're processing all of this today.
When I first heard about it, it kind of hit me like if it was my uncle or aunt. I felt that same kind of feeling, so I felt I needed to come out here. I would have done it for my own family, so I'm doing it for Kobe. He changed LA for us. He put us on a big platform, and the rest of the NBA had to respect LA. You know, Magic did it, Kobe did it, and it's just sad. And so I wanted to come down and pay my respect to Kobe.
Such a tremendous sense of loss, trying to believe that something like this has happened. And even when you come out here, there's still a part of you that says this can't be true. And then you look in the backdrop and you see that smoke.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to know that was Kobe Bryant in there, and just to imagine, you know, those last couple seconds that he felt when that, you know, when his chopper was coming down. Yeah.
What have you been saying to other fans out here looking for each other for comfort?
Nothing. You know, I really haven't talked to anybody, really. I've been keeping everything to myself. I came out here by myself.
Does it help you, though, being out here?
Yes. Yes, it does.
What's your favorite Kobe memory, Laker memory?
Oh, it was probably had to be the alley-oop to Shaq in the finals.
What year was that?
Oh, man, I couldn't tell you what year right now. But it was one of the championships. But there's a lot of great moments with Kobe that he gave us. He was an unbelievable
What
player.
made him so special? We all know he was remarkable on the court, so talented, but it was that charisma, that larger-than-life persona, bringing his teammates together, energizing crowds of people at the Staples Center.
Yeah, Kobe was the Showtime of the LA. And, yeah, it's just sad, you know. It's hard to talk about it right now.
Okay, we see you getting emotional. We're going to let you go. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for sharing with us. And again, a lot of people coming out here looking for answers, looking for comfort in each other as they try to make sense of this. And we'll be bringing you more of those emotions, those raw emotions, those reactions from Laker fans who just loved Kobe Bryant beyond words, beyond life itself. And we'll just hold this shot just for a bit, just take it in, and just see the many crowds that have gathered here, and that will perhaps continue to grow throughout the evening. Let's hold the shot for a second.
Corrine Winter reporting for us from the site of the crash out there in Calabasas, and you can see people, this gentleman here with the Bryant shirt, his hands on his head, like everybody else this morning and now this afternoon, just in disbelief that 41-year-old Laker star could die so tragically, so unexpectedly. No doubt scenes like this are playing around all over Southern California tonight,
tears.
certainly at Staples Center tonight, where they're having the Grammys later today. The red carpet arrivals are already underway, but huge crowds of Laker fans are gathering at the Staples Center tonight. Outside, they have a picture of Kobe up on the big screen out there. People are standing and taking it in. Doug Kolk is at Staples Center for us tonight. He's in the crowd out there. He's been talking to people. Doug, what are people at Staples Center telling you tonight?
You know, Rick, it's a mix of the crowd out here, the thousands strong, mourning Kobe's loss, but at the same time honoring his legacy with sporadic chants. So far, we've heard loud chants of MVP. We've heard Kobe, Kobe. We've heard 81 representing the 81 points he scored. That was 2016?
January 22nd, 2006.
January, excuse me?
Yeah, January 22nd, 2006 against the Toronto Raptors, 81 points. So
I could see in your eyes, you're choked up today.
yeah, I mean, I grew up going to Laker games. If we weren't in the stands, we were watching on TV. and it's a piece of my childhood gone. It just hits home. You know, growing up in LA, this hits home.
Take me about your morning when you heard the news.
So I missed about 5 calls from my mom, and I knew something was wrong. So I called her. She told me in tears, you know, Kobe was killed in a helicopter crash, and I think I just went into shock. I didn't cry right away. I think I just kind of sat down and started reading, and then it just kind of hit. Obviously, news of Gianna came through, and I really lost it. And of course, the 9 other people on board as well. So yeah, it's heartbreaking.
At what point did you feel compelled to come down here?
I just knew I couldn't be in my bed reading the news all day. I've been here too many times during my childhood cheering them on, so I had to do it one last time for them. So I knew I just had to make it down here.
Do you feel at home here, mourning with the rest?
I do feel at home, and you know, it's a community, and grown men are crying, and children are crying, and it's, you know, we're all feeling the same emotions right now. I know it's heartbreaking.
I'm so sorry, sir.
Hey, I think she's absolutely right. I think what she's saying about, like, with Kobe passing, it hurts us as a community. You know, Kobe's been number one throughout all of SoCal. You know, whether it's been home, whether it's been away, you've seen the Kobe supporters. For him to die, it's truly like a family member passing away. So much to the point that we had to drive an hour and a half from here just to celebrate his life and everything he's accomplished. What really sucks is I've taught my son from day one to be a Kobe supporter. So in 3rd grade, he totally rocked the Kobe jersey. When he was in high school, he picked the number 24 because he was in love with Kobe. And it's everything I've taught to him. And now as a 17-year-old, to have to tell him that Kobe's passed, all we can do is appreciate the legacy, appreciate everything he's done, not only on the basketball court, but also what he's done away from the basketball court. Let's not get it twisted. He was a great player as an NBA superstar, but he's also doing a lot of stuff for the community. And as a whole, he wanted to branch out his brand as Kobe Bryant. And that's one thing that we had to drive 2 hours to get here, just to be in support of everybody around here. It's not about Lakers past, it's not about Lakers present, it's about Kobe Bryant as a person and what he's done for the Laker brand. And that's what we appreciate.
Isn't it amazing that an athlete can have this much of an impact on a community?
Hey, and we want to say on the community, Kobe Bryant is reaching people on a global scale. I mean, we want to talk about what he's doing here in LA. What about what he's doing in China? What about what he's doing in other different countries trying to support the brand of basketball? And that's what he is. He's not just LA Kobe Bryant, even though we love him like a family. It's also what he's doing on the global scale and what he's doing for the whole world and for NBA basketball as a whole. And that's what we need to appreciate. Don't get it all twisted. We're all here in love, and we're all here to party with Kobe and represent everything that he totally embellished. But at the same time, let's take this on a global scale and what needs to happen around the world so we can get the NBA as a one, approaching people that don't get the opportunity.
You know, you want to demonstrate that impact that Kobe had. We have music's biggest night taking place just across the street at Staples Center. You don't see signs for the Grammys. You see in loving memory of Kobe Bryant. You take it back out here across the way at LA Live, more signs in loving memory, Kobe Bryant, 1978 to 1920, all surrounding.
Icon. Let's not get it twisted. He's an icon, not just a basketball player, but everything he represents. He's an icon for the better and for the poor. For all of us growing up right here in Southern California, you know, we need to get it, do what we need to do to make sure that we're available to all the people out here. And that's what Kobe Bryant wanted.
You're speaking from the heart, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. For now, we're going to send it back to you, but we're going to be out here. We're going to be monitoring the situation out here. We'll be talking to fans. You could obviously tell fans visibly shaken and speaking from the heart when it comes to the life and legacy of Kobe Bryant.
What that man said, very well spoken for sure. And a lot of people, as you see from that shot from overhead, are gathering, although at one point I did hear authorities were urging people not to come down there because it's already such a crowded area because of the Grammys happening across the street. But I imagine that it's a very comforting feeling for all of those fans to be gathering. As that woman said, grown men all over are crying today.
Yeah, he was just one of a handful of young men drafted into the NBA right out of high school. There was a moment, I think, that he was thinking about going to college. Darren Horton's here. We were just talking about the fact that he was supposed to be going to Duke.
Yeah, he had a great deal of admiration for Coach Krzyzewski, and the Duke head basketball coach, Mike Krzyzewski, just released this statement saying, we have tragically lost one of the greatest sports figures of our time with the passing of Kobe Bryant. He was an incredibly gifted person who was universally respected. He was in a constant pursuit of doing something special, and there will never be a greater warrior in our sport. I had the amazing honor of coaching Kobe in the 2008 and 2012 Olympic Games, and I will always remember how much he cherished representing his country in a first-class manner, playing the game he loved so. The game of basketball is better today because of Kobe, and he deserves eternal appreciation for that. This is a devastating loss, made even more tragic by the passing of his daughter, Gianna, and all others on board. The entire Krzyzewski family is saddened as we genuinely loved and admired Kobe. We extend our deepest sympathies to his wife, Vanessa, their daughters, Natalia, Bianca, and Capri, and the families of those involved.
Yeah, and I can tell it's tough as a dad.
Yeah, you can hear in your voice. Have you broken down today yet, Darren?
Oh my
I feel like you're on the verge, as am I. It's like tears welling up inside. It's just so awful.
My little guy, as I rushed out the door to get in here, and I just grabbed my little son and hugged him extra tight and kissed him, and you realize how precious life is in these moments. And you know, he was Kobe Bryant was a brilliant person. I mean, he was a great basketball player, but as a person, he was special, and we're going to miss him.
Yeah, we're hearing just now that the NTSB, National Transportation Safety groups, are going to be holding a news conference here pretty soon involving that crash. Glenn Walker's with us on the set as well. I know you had the chance of covering him for a number of years. What was that like?
It was, you know, there are certain athletes that just that stand out and they're iconic. Michael Jordan is one of those. Obviously, you know, the NBA has a star system where they do a good job of promoting individual stars. And you know, in the 90s, the NBA, Michael Jordan was the big star. You know, 6 NBA titles, and then he retires, and you know, that kind of moves on in another direction. And Kobe, you know, first was Shaq. You know, he emerged as the guy. But I think what happened is when he actually won the 2 titles after Shaq left and went to Miami, that's when he really showed everybody that he was the man. You know, getting back to, I was thinking when you're talking about Mike Krzyzewski, you know, he was a great high school basketball player, and it was like, you know, is he going to go to college? Is he going to go to the NBA? And the Lakers ended up getting him, but they didn't draft him. They had to make a trade after he was drafted. But what's interesting is, you know, Jerry West, you know, they went to he worked out for him, and he and Mitch Kupchak, who was the general manager of the Lakers, you know, when they saw the workout, they were like, we got something special. We got to get this guy. We got to get this guy in a Laker uniform.
Well, I think everybody thought that when they first saw him coming out. You know, he was mature beyond his years, I think, because he grew up over in Europe, in Italy, playing there. His father was very active in his life. Love you, and you will be missed. My condolences go out to the family.
And Magic Johnson, he has sent out 8 tweets about Kobe Bryant.
Yay, what's up with the party people and the place to be? What's up with it, Miss Female Physics? Everybody that's tuning in right now. My man Monstrosity Stylistic up in the Hizzle for Shizzle. Kat, she didn't now change her name to the Blue-Eyed Devil. You understand me? Triple Darkness, Caribbean Freddy. Yay. It seemed like it's a lot of negative energy going around out here in these YouTube streets. So even stuff has came towards me. You know, I got people approaching me talking about They ain't finna make a roast video about me. Now, mind you, I haven't done nothing, haven't said nothing to this person, and you know, they just running up on me out here in these YouTube streets talking about, yeah, Tree, I'm gonna leave you out the roast video. You know, I ain't gonna even roast you and wooty woo bam. I'm like, huh? I'm like, hold up. So give me a hot second. You know, I'll be back in like maybe 5 minutes tops. And R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. And I open up the StreamYard thing in case some folks want to jump on the panel and talk about their YouTube disputes and differences, because apparently it's a lot going on out here in these YouTube streets. Stuff I ain't even privy of, you know. They can't even give my man Kobe Bryant his little time. We weren't going to be streaming Kobe Bryant all day, you know. But shit, we out here mourning in L.A. Once again, shout out to my man Kobe Bryant, R.I.P. You know, condolences to the family. And if there's some more information, some more breaking news about this Kobe Bryant situation, we're going to bring it to you live and direct right here on Tree TV Radio. So y'all make sure y'all come back, man. I see y'all typing and going at each other up in the chat room. I'm going to open this back up, man. Let me set up the set real quick. You party people out there, have a good one. Be back in like 5 minutes. Peace.